All right, hit that Zoom too. Hey, Shalom Israel. Welcome back to Wednesday night class. Tonight's topic is hands-free forgiveness. Hands-free forgiveness. Write that down. Hands-free forgiveness. Obviously, you know from the title that 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 forgiveness is the mainstay of the main topic of the class, and that when it comes to revenge, you should keep your hands away from it. All right, but first and foremost, shout out to everybody online that's watching it online, and shout out to everybody that came in person, live in person. Welcome to class. Shout out and salute to our brothers out there in New York, Houston, and Virginia. Shout out to Cabo Cabo in Guatemala and Amiatza in London. All of our brothers in California, Albuquerque, Mexico, Florida, and all overseas, Canada, and all those that watch online. Let's go ahead and get started. I know it's after 7:30. The topic of the class is hands-free forgiveness. Let's go ahead and get started with the first verse. First verse is Luke chapter 17, verse 1. Whoever got it, please read it. Luke chapter 17, verse 1.
Luke chapter 17, verse 1. Then said he unto the disciples, it is impossible, but that offenses will come.
So, right off the bat, he's telling you a rule of thumb or something that you can guarantee in this life is that you will be offended or somebody's going to offend you or you will offend somebody. He said offenses will what?
Will come.
So, off the bat, he's explaining, Christ is explaining that offenses are inevitable. It's bound to happen. It will happen. You might as well count on it. Don't be shocked and don't be surprised when it happens. He's telling you that you will be offended. Offenses shall come in many shapes, sizes, and forms. All right? So, he says, it is impossible. That means there's no way that people are going to walk on this earth and 6 billion people be on earth. They say 7 billion now. And nobody's going to step on nobody's toes. That's bound to happen. You're going to, whether you're at work, whether you're at home, whether you're at school, doesn't matter what you're doing, where your location is, there's going to be an offense somewhere. All right, read on.
It says, but woe unto him through whom they come.
So the Most High is not having the issue with the fact that there are offenses on earth. The Most High has the issue with who?
With through whom they come.
That is the offender. The problem that the Most High has is with the offender, not the offendee, not the one who's been offended, the one who's doing the offending. All right? That's the one that Most High has a problem with. Read on.
Luke chapter 17, verse 2. It were better for him that a millstone were hanged about his neck, and he cast into the sea.
No, read it again.
Luke 17, verse 2. It were better for him that a millstone were hanged about his neck.
Stop. It says, so obviously there's a consequence. There's a consequence to offenses. There are repercussions for the offender. You don't live life offending with no repercussion and no recourse and no consequence. There is always a recourse. Read on.
It says, it were better for him.
And he cast it into the sea.
And he cast into the sea. Then that he should offend one of these little ones.
So he's showing you the severity of how offenses are taken in the spirit. Offenses are very, very extreme. They're taken extreme by the Most High. They're looked at as extreme by the Most High. What man may consider slight or non-important is totally opposite and wrong of how the Most High looks at offenses. You know, just because a person may feel like, you know what, that's my norm, you know, that doesn't mean that that's normal with the Most High. It's not normal with the Father. All right? So right off the bat, he's explaining how the Most High looks at offenses. It's not taken lightly. Romans, next brother. Romans chapter 12, verse 19. We're going to come back to this in a minute. Romans chapter 12. Yes, sir.
Does this exclude when you drop in knowledge? Or depending on how you do it, if you're doing it negative? Or?
Well, if you drop in knowledge, first of all, the scriptures say love causes no ill to who?
His neighbor.
So love causes no ill to his neighbor. So if I'm dropping knowledge out of love, there won't be an ill response.
Well, some people in this world...
Then it's not love. that maybe I'm trying to force my way on somebody. Because if it's love, love causes no ill to his neighbor. If I'm doing something out of love, then if somebody is interpreting the wrong way, maybe they are. But if it's love, if it's truly love, then you'll see that it won't have an ill effect. It will never have an ill effect. Real love doesn't have an ill effect. And we're going to get to that. Hold that question. I like your question. And just keep that question in mind as we continue, because it'll fall right in line to what we're talking about. Right? So hold that question in mind. Just keep that in mind. Where you at? Romans
chapter 12.
Read it with some spirit.
Yeah, what was the verse again?
Verse 19.
Romans 12 and 19. For dearly beloved, avenge not yourself.
And you know what? Because there's always a consequence for the offender, not the offendee. The offendee doesn't have to do anything. The offendee is hands-free. You don't have to do anything if you're the offendee. That's why it says, avenge what?
Avenge not yourself.
Go ahead.
But rather give place unto wrath.
Go ahead.
For it is written, vengeance is mine. I will repay, saith the Lord.
Right. So he's telling us right off the bat, offenses are bound to happen. The Most High doesn't allow offenses to go unnoticed, unchecked. And who's going to be the one orchestrating the punishment for the offenses?
I will repay, saith the Lord.
That's why you don't have to defend yourself. You don't have to stand up for yourself and, you know what, get vengeance. I got to get payback. I owe this person payback. You're not going to do me dirty and get away with it without getting some type of recourse. There's a proper way to do everything. So we're going to break this down too in just a minute. But give me because we see already how severe offenses are with the Most High. Let's go to Leviticus chapter 19, verse 17. Let's read this. And then Yahweh, we'll be back with you in Luke chapter 17. You're going to pick up in verse 3.
Leviticus chapter 19, verse 17. Thou shalt not hate thy brother in thine heart.
Because it's not your job to hate your brother in your heart, even if it's been some offenses, even if there's been some wrongdoing. It's not justified to hold hate in your heart. Read.
Thou shalt in any wise rebuke thy neighbor and not suffer sin upon him.
So when you read verse 3, he says, this is how you preserve relationships. This is the preservation of relationships. This is how you maintain healthy relationships, healthy friendships, and healthy bonds. If there's an offense, you don't hold on to it. It says you rebuke thy neighbor. That rebuke means to check, to admonish, to chastise. You let them know what the problem is. And then he says you do what after that?
And not suffer sin upon him.
Because if you don't let it go, the Most High will punish that individual.
Oh, whoa.
If you don't let it go. Remember, the Most High takes offenses very seriously.
Yeah.
So you have the power to relinquish that person from the Most High stinging them. But it's all through what? Forgiveness. It's how you process the pain. It's how you process the injury. It's how you process the fault.
So you're saying that the Most High will listen to your pleas of vengeance, but you don't have to plead vengeance. You can plead grace. You can plead forgiveness or mercy on the individual if you choose to.
If you forgive.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Is the Most High judging whether or not we forgive this person?
Of course he is, but there's still a punishment. There's still a punishment at play. And we're going to explain it. We're not going to rush through it. There's no need to rush through it because you're going to be offended in your life. You're either going to be the offendee or the offender. So, and we probably already have been in your life several times over. So, playing both roles. So, there's no need to rush it, but we got to get understanding. So, in verse 17, one more time.
Leviticus chapter 19, verse 17. Thou shalt not Hate thy brother in thine heart.
So if you don't let it go, the Most High will sting the offender. And we already know how severe the Most High takes the offenses. We already know how Christ just explained that it's better that he tie a millstone about his neck and cast himself in the ocean. So you have the power to prevent the ultimate demise from the Most High regarding an offense. Read.
Come. Thou shalt in any wise rebuke thy neighbor and not suffer sin upon him.
It says, and not suffer what?
Sin upon him.
Right, so you can pull away his sin. You can cover his sin by forgiving him. You could take away his error or her error by forgiveness. Prove that point even further. Go to verse 3. Yo up.
Luke chapter 17, verse 3. Take heed to yourselves.
And that's why it says, pay attention how you deal with offenses. Read on.
If thy brother trespass against thee, rebuke him.
We just read that in Leviticus. You're supposed to rebuke him. You're supposed to let them know where they went wrong at. Read.
And if he repents.
And if he repent, if he said, I apologize, I won't do it again, I'm sorry, let me change. Repent means change. Then it's your obligation to do what?
Forgive him.
Then it's your job to forgive him. Because you don't want the Most High to bring the hammer down on them unnecessarily if they change. You have the chance to give this individual a multitude of passes amidst the mistakes and the offenses. Hold that, Yawab. It says, and if he repent, then you do what?
It says, and if he repent, forgive him.
Go ahead.
And if he trespass against thee 7 times in a day.
And he's talking about this is a consistent thing. This is a routine of this individual is to be offensive. That's their norm. Read.
And 7 times in a day turn again to thee, saying, I repent.
And he still, that same day, he said, man, you know what? Forgive me. Don't mean it. I'm fighting it. I'm changing. Read on.
Thou shalt forgive him.
It says, thou should do what?
Forgive him.
It says, then you got to forgive him. He's showing you how to preserve relationships. How many people can't do this and they quit on the person because they can't stand the multitude of the offenses, so they give up on the individual. And they don't know how to stay in a relationship. They don't know how to stay in a friendship. All they know is you offended me. Well, you know what? You can do that all day long, but you don't know how to preserve friendships. You don't know how to preserve relationships. You don't know how to preserve bonds. This is about relationship preservation. And in relationship preservation, you better know how to forgive if you're going to preserve friendships. Because a friendship is filled with the best friends are the one that fought the most. Those are the ones that you had the most squabbles with and issues with, are the tightest ones. That's why you can fight with your brother and sister, but you don't let nobody else fight with them. You're protective over that individual. There's a bond there. But those offenses amidst forgiveness allows restoration in friendships. But when you hold a grudge, you're not letting go of the offense. The Most High is going to punish that individual for offending you. And then guess what? You lose your friend. You lose your brother. You lose somebody close to you. So, in life, you're going to see these spirits of individuals, these polarities. Like the Most High said, he made two against two, one against another. Things are always made this way. You got offenders and you got offendees. But you got to know how to deal with both. And that's what today's topic is going to be about. How do you deal with offenses, whether you're the offender or the offendee? But we have to look at these two types and identify these two types of individuals. Classify them, so to speak. Let's go to Proverbs chapter 11 and give me verse 3.
Proverbs chapter 11, verse 3.
Yep. His next brother.
I just did that. I thought I was after you. It was
Proverbs 11 and 3. Ready? Proverbs 11 and 3. The
Yeah.
integrity of the upright.
It says the integrity of the what?
Upright
Go ahead.
shall guide them.
So, in life, there's different types of people. You're going to have people that have integrity. Give me the definition of integrity.
Integrity. 1828. Webster's Dictionary. It says, wholeness, entireness, unbroken state. The entire, unimpaired state of anything, particularly of the mind.
So you have individuals that are not broken in mind. They stay whole in mind. Keep reading on. Read on down in the definition. I want you to read the whole definition.
Kind. Moral soundness.
He said they maintain moral what?
Soundness.
Go ahead.
Or purity. Incorruptness.
It says incorruptness, right?
Kind.
So they don't let the whatever's against them, whatever's opposing them, they don't allow it to corrupt their integrity. They don't allow it to corrode their pure state of mind. That means you have people that can withstand offensive people, and they don't take it and it destroy them, because they know how to handle. They know within themselves, I'm not going to let this offense deter me from who I am and break me and destroy my mind, even though this individual is offensive. Read.
Kind. Uprightness. Honesty. Integrity comprehends the whole moral character,
Go ahead.
but has a special.
Now, I want to get on this point. He says, but when you're dealing with people, especially when you're dealing with integrity, it leans heavily towards what?
The whole moral character,
Go ahead.
but has a special reference to uprightness in mutual dealings.
It says it has a what?
It says reference to uprightness in mutual dealings.
So in mutual dealings, meaning in everyday exchanges, in everyday dealings, meaning when you interact with anybody on earth and everybody on earth, you're going to have people that are pure and their character is pure in regarding their exchanges with you, how you deal with them, how you exchange, how you interchange, how you do business with, how you deal with, coexist with, cohabitate with. There's some people that continue to retain their integrity. Integrity is specifically dealing with your everyday dealings with people, your everyday interactions. What controls, or is what people say is your moral compass in your everyday dealings with people? You have limitations that you will and will not go. There's limits to what you will say and what you will not say. There's people that have that type of integrity. They maintain a sound form of purity, and there's just things that they will not go off the handle, because it's not their character to go off the handle. It's not their character to be extreme. It's not their character to try to oppress. It's not in them. But read the whole that and give me back the verse.
Proverbs 11:3. The integrity of the upright shall guide them, but the perverseness of transgressors shall destroy them.
So now you got two type of people that you're going to come in contact with on an everyday basis. And we're going to break down and explain what these two types of people are. You got people that have integrity, and then you got people that are perverse. And guess what? What happens when you put people with integrity in the same room, same proximity to people that's perverse? Bingo, bro. That's where the offenses come from. It's the clash of these two types of people. It's the interactions of these two types of people. Some have integrity, some don't. Some people maintain a soundness of mind, and some people are about being oppressive. But we're going to explain it. We're in Proverbs 11:3, right? Give me Ecclesiastes in the Apocrypha, chapter 27. Start at verse 1. We're talking about everyday dealings. And the root source of people's characters and how these people's characters clash.
Ready?
Yep. Give me Ecclesiastes chapter 27. Start at verse 1.
Come. Ecclesiasticus chapter 27, verse 1 reads, Many have sinned for a small matter, and he that seeketh for abundance will turn his eyes away.
So now, let's slow it down and read it again.
Come. Many have sinned for a small matter, and he that seeketh for abundance will turn his eyes away.
So he's saying, you learn two things just from this one verse. You learn that everybody's not playing the same game. And everybody's not playing with the same rules. Everybody's not in the exchange for the benefit of the other person. What we're talking about here is, he says, many have done what, Marwalla?
For many have sinned for a small matter,
Go ahead.
and he that seeketh for abundance.
Stop. You got some people that are in the exchange in the everyday dealings with you. Everyday interactions with you. They're in it for the what?
For abundance.
So meaning what? What does that mean?
The gain, the benefits.
Yeah.
No, not just money. It's for the benefits. It's for the benefits. Some people are there and they interact with you for the benefits. Because there's something that they can gain from the interaction. Remember, integrity is dealing with how you deal mutually, specifically in your dealings with other people. So in my everyday dealings with people, some people are there interchanging and dealing with each other, but out of the dealing, one person wants what?
Abundance.
Somebody wants an abundance, meaning what? More than what's what?
More than what's
More
fair.
than
More than what's fair. So you got some people in your everyday dealings, you're going to run into people that, damn, this person they want more than what's fair. They want the advantage leaning to team them, whatever team they're on. They want the advantage leaning their way. But a person with integrity is about what's fair, about what's equal for both parties. And it's not about me getting more than you, or me getting the advantage out of this circumstance in our everyday dealings. This is a person that wants a win out of every exchange. I want to walk away with a win out of every exchange. Yes, sir.
It sounds, you say small matter, sounds petty or spiteful just to get a one-up on.
It is, and that's why I say it's a small matter. It is petty and it is spiteful, because for little to no gain, a person will still want to feel victorious after they exchange with you, after they go into some type of dealings with you or negotiations with you. They want to feel like I got the upper hand, or I got the victory, or I got the most out of this situation. I got the most out of our interaction. You got some people that have this nature. We're in Ecclesiastes chapter 27, verse 1, right?
Come.
Right? Read verse 2.
Verse 2. As a nail sticketh fast between the joinings of the stones, so doeth sin stick close between buying and selling.
What's another word for buying and selling?
Exchanging, interacting,
Commerce.
commerce.
Exchanging. Interaction. He says sin is always close between what?
Between the joinings of the stone.
But who do you do commerce with? The people. The people. Everyday people. You do commerce with everyday people. You do dealings every day. But every day that you do everyday dealings, even a husband and a wife, they have to sign a contract.
Yep.
That's a wife, a wedding vow is a contract. Because the contract says what? What is the details of a marriage contract?
You're gonna be here. You'll be here regardless.
I'm gonna take heed of my role.
Yeah.
I have a role. I'm gonna play my role. You're gonna play your role.
What role have I agreed to?
You want to support each other in good and bad times.
I'm be here for the good and bad, sickness and health, life or death, rich or poor, better for worse. Yeah. So I'm laying down the contract. I'm laying down the contract to the marriage. So a relationship is a contract. It's a dealing. It's an exchange. He said, but sin is always close to exchanges. Why is that? Because in a marriage, since we're using marriages for an example, our marriage is always fair.
Nope.
Somebody laugh.
Right.
Somebody been married. You know. Those that laugh,
It's a married laugh.
that's a married laugh. Yeah, our marriage is always fair. Why aren't they fair? Because in the midst of the exchange, there's always something offset. There's always the notion or the chance that somebody is gaining
More.
Yeah. Somebody is doing more work, and there's an imbalance.
There may not be a perfect, even exchange.
It's not.
Based off situations.
They call it fair exchange.
A fair exchange.
Fair exchange, no robbery. But does it always end up like that? In your everyday dealings with people, is it always equity across the board? No, it's not. That's why it says sin is close to buying and selling. That's just another word for everyday exchanges. You got to look out for the sin that is always present in everyday dealings, because somebody, what we just read earlier, is that perverse person is always looking to gain. They're looking for abundance, meaning they're looking for a broader share of the exchange. I'm looking for more than what I'm actually giving in this exchange. We understand?
More than I have right to.
More than I have right to.
Because nobody has a problem with the word more.
Yeah.
But when it's beyond righteous means, when it's beyond the righteous line of equity, the righteous line of fairness, when it's beyond the principle of being equal with the person you're interacting with, then there's obviously, it said exchanging between buying and selling, there's some kind of what? Sin involved. If one party is getting more than the other.
And we're going to see who's doing it. Where is it coming from? Let's go back to where we were in Ecclesiastes chapter 27, verse 3.
Done. Ecclesiasticus chapter 27, verse 3 reads, unless a man hold himself diligently in the fear of the Most High.
So, this is why in your everyday dealings, you have to hold yourself diligent, faithful, with painstaking effort, stay attached to what?
The fear of the Most High.
Because if you don't keep yourself tethered with the fear of the Lord, you're bound to be the perverse one. You're bound to be the one that is looking to gain more than what's rightfully you should possess out of the everyday exchange. Proverbs chapter 20, verse 7. Stop where you at, my water. Hold that. We're going to read it again one more time after this.
Covered.
Proverbs chapter 20, verse 7.
Read that.
Proverbs chapter 20, verse 7. The just man walketh.
Read verse 6, I'm sorry.
Proverbs chapter 20, verse 6. Most men will proclaim every one his own goodness.
But you listen to people, they'll tell you what?
His own goodness.
They'll tell you how good they are. They'll tell you how fair they are. They'll tell you how equitable they are. They'll tell you how right they are. They'll tell you how just they are. They'll tell you how fair they are. You listen to anybody tell you when you get into a marriage. They'll tell you a lot of things. When you get into a friendship, you'll hear a lot of things. Because everybody's going to tell you from their perspective about who they are and what they are. But you don't know until you start dealing with these individuals. Once you start getting into exchanges with this individual, and commerce with this individual and trading with this individual, then you start finding out, wait a minute, this person isn't as fair as they say they are. Read on.
It says, but a faithful man.
It said, but a faithful man. Read on.
Who can find?
It said, you know what is hard to find?
A faithful man.
What does that mean?
Someone that has integrity.
Somebody that has integrity. It's hard to find. And because a lot of people don't have integrity, but they have their own definition of goodness.
Yeah.
They have their own
Good to me.
Yeah, what's good to them. They have their own definition of goodness. They have their own definition of fairness. Sometimes they'll even say, well, I could have did this instead of that. I could have been even worse.
Yeah.
You know, they got their own definition of what's fair. I took it light on you. I could have been harder on you. They got their own definition. But read on.
Proverbs chapter 20, verse 7. The just man walketh in his integrity.
But the fair man does what?
Walketh in his integrity.
But the fair man always, the just man, the upright man, always walk in his integrity. Read on.
His children are blessed after him.
Now, that definition of integrity one more time. So that you can see, out of every exchange, there's always one that's just, or there's one that's what? Perverse. And you gotta, and through this just and perverse dealings, there's always going to be an offense if you're not operating in the right capacity. Specifically, if one is not held down and tethered and bound and anchored to the fear of the Lord, then you could easily become the perverse one, looking for the advantage out of your everyday exchanges with the next person. Read that.
Integrity, 1828, Webster's Dictionary. The entire, unimpaired state of anything, particularly of the mind, moral soundness or purity.
Moral soundness or purity, go ahead.
Incorruptness.
Incorruptness, meaning a just person, because they fear the Lord, they're making sure that they're not offensive. They're making sure that the exchange is equitable, that the exchange is fair. They're making sure that they're not leaning toward a larger, greater portion of whatever the dealings are up on the table, whatever the negotiation is. It's not one-sided, leaning towards me and my advantage. And although we proclaim to be friends or in a marriage or whatever, family, but it's never fair. But the just person will make sure that his integrity is always intact, and he'll never do you wrong, or she'll never do you wrong. But that's hard to find. Read on.
It says uprightness, honesty.
It said honesty is hard to find. Uprightness, somebody that's fair, hard to find. But it's through these individuals that's not tethered to the Most High. You got to be careful because you can become offensive. Read on.
Integrity comprehends the whole moral character.
Go ahead.
But has a special reference to uprightness in mutual dealings.
It said in mutual dealings, right? Give me Proverbs 21:2.
This subject affects everybody. Because everybody is holding on to something, some kind of I'm offended. We always hear a bunch of counsels about I'm offended. We hear a bunch of counsels about I'm offended.
Verse 2.
Or don't partner me up with this person. Don't partner me up with this person. The schedule's crazy. It's hard to set up a schedule, a proper schedule, because no matter what schedule
everybody's mad at everybody.
Yeah. Now the schedule's so stupid now, you can't play anybody with anybody.
Yep. Because there's going to be hostility. There's going to be hostility on the route. There's going to be hostility on the job. There's going to be hostility in the exchange and the everyday dealings. Read.
Proverbs chapter 21, verse 2. Every way of a man is right in his own eyes.
Once again, everybody has their own definition of what?
Right and wrong.
I'm never wrong is the constant, though.
That's the constant.
That's the constant.
Right.
You know, because there's a conversation going on now, and it's people. You know, there's a woke community, right? People who are now awakening to social hidden norms or societal when it comes to injustice, this liberal culture. But in this liberal culture, this little pocket of liberal culture, they were discussing the idea of one's perception versus the perspective of society. And what that means is people have a perception of how they are. They believe in what they believe. They believe that they're a nice person. They believe that they're genuine. They believe that they're actually a good person. But what this guy was talking about, he said people have to look at how other people's perspective of them are. And that will give them a fresher reality. You know, how does this person look at me? Is this person, the way he looks at me is the same way that this person looks at me? Does everybody have the same consensus of how they look at me? Or am I just the only one that's delusional? So a lot of people live in this delusional space. This is why we have all these conflicting arguments, these conflicting social justice movements, because everybody has their own perception of what they think is right. There is no moral compass. There's nothing to base their thoughts on. So when you read on this verse about how every man is right in his own eyes, this has been true since the beginning of time. Everybody thinks it's been on point. If there's no grounding or there's no baseline of what's right and what's wrong, everybody will tell themselves my thought process is correct, and there's no way you can change my mind.
I can see wrong than you, but I can't see wrong.
But you have to use a greater standard because you can't use everyone's individual standard of righteousness.
Yeah,
that's going to sway based on the individual
and their feelings.
Everybody has their own idea about what's right and wrong.
Yeah,
what's fair and what's equal and what's not equal.
What's a mean?
Well, that's why, like for example, you got Albertsons wanting to merge with Kroger's right now. It'll be the largest grocery merger in history. And the FTC, which is the Federal Trade Commission, is blocking the merger from Kroger and Albertson.
Why?
Because the merger will be great for business. They can streamline. They sell damn near the same products. They can streamline distribution. They can streamline warehousing. Financially, it's a good move. But when they do the merger, that means a lot of people are gonna lose their jobs.
Oh.
So the trade commission has to look at the trickle down effect of the merger. Although that'll be great for them financially for both companies, but how it affect the multitude of the employees, how many employees are employed by Kroger's and Albertsons, it's going to wipe out the working class and destroy thousands of jobs. So there has to be a trade commission to oversee these exchanges and dealings.
Wow.
Just like the Most High, he's the trade commission. He's the one that oversees your everyday dealings and exchanges. Although you may feel like it's right for you to behave a certain way, your behavior has trickle-down effects that are negative to the body.
Wow.
Yeah.
Read on.
God, middle of verse 1.
That's crazy. Even in business, they have to have that.
Slightly middle of verse 2.
Yeah.
It's checks and balances.
It is a checks and balances. Read.
Start from the top of
Verse 2.
God, every way of a man is right in his own eyes.
It said every way a man is right in his own eyes. Everybody has their own definition of fairness. They got their own definition of what a person deserves. They're based off their feelings and opinions. Read on.
But the Lord pondereth the heart.
But the Most High is the one that dictates what's right and wrong. He's the one that is able to say, man, I can see the effects of your thought process. He's the one that weighs in and say, man, there's an imbalance there. Your thoughts is one-sided. That's
only self-beneficial.
It's exactly. It only benefits you. Read.
God, verse 3. To do justice and judgment is more acceptable.
He says to be fair. Are your decisions fair? Where there's an equal benefit of everyday exchange that you have with your people. Is it fair? Are your dealings fair? He says to do justice and judgment is what?
Is more acceptable to the Lord than sacrifice.
Then you know what? Then this is when a person will say, you know what? Well, I got to go for me. Nobody going to take care of me. So I got to do what benefits me. I got to do what's right for me. No, the Most High ain't listening to that.
No.
He's not listening to that. He could care less about what's just right for you. Because in your mind, you're right in your own eyes.
No matter what.
The way you feel. Most High ain't listening to that. Read on.
I don't feel like I'm wrong right now.
Yeah. That's exactly.
Verse 4. And high look.
So he's going to show you, now we got to go down and get even even closer to the root of the issue. The reason why the exchanges is wrong, because we learned already that there's a person who's in it trying to get an abundance out of the exchange, more leverage, more leeway, more ownership, more value out of the exchange, a greater percentage of victory than the other person. But even that comes from what? Read.
And high look.
It comes from what?
And high look.
So the root of that imbalanced person, the root of that person is what?
Pride.
Pride. Pride is what breeds the imbalanced, unjust individual. It's pride. He said a high look does what?
And the proud heart and the plowing of the wicked
And the plowing of the wicked, meaning what their investments, how they invest into what they're doing. He says the plowing of the wicked is what?
is sin.
It's sin. And it's going to show us, he's going to explain it. Read.
Verse 5. The thoughts of the diligent tend only to plenteousness.
He's showing us the origin of the error, of the imbalance between how we deal with each other. The origin of the error is pride. And he's going to break it down. I don't want to rush. Read. He said, read verse 5 one more time.
Verse 5. The thoughts of the diligent tend only to plenteousness.
So, in life, you're going to have what he calls the diligent. Their mind tends to plenteousness, or what benefits everybody. Let's just say those are the givers.
True.
Just to have a easy to understand understanding of what he's saying. Let's call those the givers. The givers are about what benefits everybody.
Plenteousness.
Plenteousness. They care about plenteousness, and there's enough to go around for everybody. They're not leveraged to reap the benefits of the exchange more on their level.
Everybody eats.
Everybody wins. Everybody eats. Let's just call those the givers. Read on.
The thoughts of the diligent tend only to plenteousness, but of every one that is hasty, only to want.
It says, but those that are hasty, their mind is geared only to what?
Want.
So let's call those people the what?
The takers.
The takers, man.
I'm hasty. I gotta get mine now.
I got out of this exchange,
Yeah.
out of our conversation, our agreement, our contract, whatever we've agreed to as far as working together, living together, my goal is about taking care of who? Me. In life, you're going to have two types of people. You got givers, and then you got takers.
Here.
I gotta pull this.
It's coming out.
I was waiting.
Go ahead,
Ecclesiastes 42, and verse 24 and 25. Is right on point.
Is it on point?
It's right on point.
All right.
42 and verse 24.
Ecclesiastes chapter 42 and verse 24. All things are double, one against another.
So the Most High has two sets of people, two types of people, two moral codes, two ways of living, two ways of operating, right? Just like in everything, the Most High has good set against evil, godly against the sinner. We understand that concept, right? Read on.
And he has made nothing imperfect.
It says he's made nothing imperfect, meaning everything has their uses. The wicked, the sinner, the godly, the righteous, the unjust, the slothful, the hasty, the giver, the taker. Everybody has their uses. But that use is to show what is the superior use. What is the example of the right thing to operate? Because you don't know because we have duplicity in us by nature. We have negative and evil. We have to have superior righteous actions or virtues to show us what is the correct path to walk. That's not what our nature wants to go. That's not our innate feelings. We need something to back our righteous mind off. One most important thing is the scriptures. The righteous men and women in the Bible. Can we back our mind and correlate our actions to what they did in the scriptures? That is a perfect example of how to operate. We're going to prove that. Read on.
No, I like what you're saying. What you just said right now is that the Most High gives two examples, whether it's positive or negative, but he shows you both so that he could reveal which one is right.
Yep.
So if you didn't have one, you wouldn't know about the other.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And say if you don't have bad, then you wouldn't recognize what?
Good.
Good. You wouldn't know what good looks like. You know what I'm saying?
Come.
And unless you lost, you wouldn't know what gain is. Unless you've lost, you wouldn't know what it means to have if you wasn't part of the have-nots.
Is that why the world say taking in the good in with the bad?
Take the good in with the evil.
Yes.
I mean, that's it.
Yeah, I read a book a long time ago. It was about Sierra Leone.
I got to get this verse.
The wars in Sierra Leone, which is in Africa. What would happen is they would steal children and they would train them to be war machines. From as early as 4 or 5 years old, they're wielding weapons. At this time, tribes are going against war, and what's happening is these Edomites came in and they tried to resolve the war in Africa, and they were taking all these 5, 6 to 8 year olds who only know murder and kill. And the hard part about that book was they're trying to learn how to rehabilitate them because they've never known what parenting love is. They never knew what kindness was. They never knew what a sincere relationship was. All they knew was assignments, war, death, and crime. They couldn't correlate what a good environment was. And it was a biography of a rescue or a rescued person. I think he was 5 years old. No, he was 10 years old when he got rescued, and he was like 25 at this point. He was retelling all of his stories. How he used to do drugs when he was 6 years old, and how his first kills when he was 7 years old. And this is a very extreme example, but he was explaining how it took him 10 years to realize what a true childhood was. He didn't have that. He didn't know what sincerity was. He didn't know what kindness was. He didn't know what peace was. He didn't know what peace was until he was 15 and moved to the United States.
That happens a lot with the cartels.
Con.
A lot of the cartels that find Jesus, they've been trained to kill, to torture, but also to partake in cannibalism.
Yeah.
They actually eat the flesh of their victims.
Yeah.
And they have training camps for this.
Mm-hmm.
And so they desensitize these individuals.
That's the word. Yep.
At an early age, to where they have no feelings. So they have no morality of what's good or bad. They have no concept of good or bad.
No more.
So without that concept of good or bad, they didn't know that there was such a thing as good. They just thought that was the norm. That life, war-torn life, that is the norm.
Travelers,
And
times ago.
Isaiah chapter 7 verse 15.
Hold that, Karai.
7:15.
Yes, sir.
Isaiah chapter 7 and verse 15. Butter and honey shall he eat.
So now we know Christ was born a root out of a dry ground, right? The scriptures say, is there anything good that come out of what? Nazareth, right? Showing you that Christ had a rough life and a rough start. But amidst the rough life and the rough start, he was fed with what?
Butter and honey.
Why would the Most High feed Christ butter and honey, although he was like a root out of a dry ground, a wasteland of a city, a city that don't really produce anything, or people that are well known, of notability and notoriety? Why would the Most High allow him to taste butter and honey, but he grew up so rough? Read on.
Butter and honey shall he eat, that he may know to refuse the evil.
So that way he understands. The Most High let him taste good, even though he grew up hard. The Most High let him taste good, so he knows the difference. He can distinguish the difference.
Mm.
He said, butter and honey shall what?
Shall he eat, that he may know to refuse the evil and choose the good.
So that way he has a choice now. So the Most High doesn't just make your life all evil. Don't make it all good.
Yeah.
He gives you a little bit of both so you can distinguish and make a what?
Choice.
So you can make a choice.
Because now you know you can choose life or death.
Now you know
Blessing
you can
or
choose an alternative to the way you normally think. You have an alternative now.
Yeah.
When before you may not have known that there's an alternative. You may not known how good a marriage could be. You may have not known what a blessing looks like. You may have only think that things are bad. Yeah. But the Most High give if you've had a bad relationship, the Most High give you a good one, so you can recognize that you got a good one.
Yeah.
But you know what often people do? They get the
Appreciate it.
good and they don't appreciate the good.
And they want the good. Then they regret it.
Then they lose the good,
Yeah.
and then they realize I made a bad choice.
Yep.
I made the wrong choice.
Yeah.
I chose to stick with this negative thought process,
Yeah.
or retain this negative luggage that I've been carrying around with, and I didn't recognize that the Most High brought me a good person right in my face.
Couldn't see it.
Couldn't see it. So that's why the Most High gives you two alternatives, so you can distinguish and know the difference based on that point you just brought out.
I know.
You want to bring out more on that?
Yeah. Get back. Read it from the top again. 24.
Ecclesiastes chapter 42 and verse 24. All things are double, one against another.
And this is why the importance of having two examples is needed. Because even when we're coming from churches, we're coming from religions, you might not have known what Christ truly wanted from us. Like you read in Baruch 4, it talks about how now we're happy because we know what's pleasing to the Most High.
Yeah.
We know we're actually following on course. We have some security in our belief system. It's not just religion. It's not just folk tales. We know for a fact I'm on the correct path, or I at least know what the correct path is. That is a comforting feeling. Where before, it was just word of mouth. We're just going to believe it because mom believed it. We're going to believe it because dad believed it. We're going to believe it because it's generational tradition.
It's not because I believe.
It's not because I believe. It's not because I read it for myself and I saw the miracles that the Most High showed me personally. Read on.
Come.
Yeah, well, where we at?
We are at, I don't know.
It's your job to stay focused. You got if you here as an officer, your mind got to be right there. All right.
Read from the top again. Call it out.
Ecclesiastes chapter 42 and verse 24. All things are double, one against another, and he had made nothing imperfect.
Now, just because he didn't make anything imperfect doesn't mean he didn't make anything more superior than the other, or he didn't make something an example more superior than another. There's still a superior way or a superior example in everything that we do. Read on.
One thing establishes the good or another.
Meaning one example establishes what's good and what's right over another example. One element, one moral element. For us, it's the scriptures. The scriptures establishes if my behaviors are good, if my actions are good, if my thought processes are good.
Not how I feel.
Not how I feel, not what society has told me. Because society's gonna lie to you. Society's gonna tell you what you want to hear. So if I have the scriptures, I always have a successful backing or a successful go-to to know if I'm on track or if I'm doing the correct things in the Most High's eyes. So it says one thing establishes the good of another. Read on.
And who shall be filled with beholding his glory?
Because again, it's a choice. Are you going to be filled with the Most High's glory, which is what? The scriptures, the Holy Spirit, the understanding of what Christ wants, the understanding of what the Most High desires in our day-to-day actions? This is your choice. This is your option. This is the good, or this is the example that you're now given, the opportunity you're now given to set forth a better lifestyle. And this particular point is forgiveness. Can I find the correct way to forgive? To not take things personal, to not hold a grudge, to not take offense to every offense in life, because there's many offenses in life. So how someone looks at you is an offense,
Right. Well, and in particular, we're showing the dynamic of two types of people, and in two types of people, you got givers and takers.
Exactly.
You got some that are trying to gain the leverage over the exchange, over the everyday exchange.
Wow.
So let's go back to where it's at in Proverbs chapter 21 and verse 5.
Proverbs chapter 21, verse 5.
Read that.
The thoughts of the diligent tend only to plenteousness, but of everyone that is hasty, only to want.
So you got givers and takers. Now the Most High, the Most High, obviously, there's different words for these takers, right? 2 Peter chapter 2 verse 10. Let's read that.
We call them this generation. We just call them takers.
Yeah. Because or those that they tend only to want.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because that's an old English way of saying all they care about is gain. That's just an old English form of saying that, their mind is geared towards them getting the advantage out of everybody in every way possible. 2 Peter chapter 2 verse 10. Read that.
Come. 2 Peter chapter 2 verse 10 reads, but chiefly them that walk after the flesh.
It said, but a person that whose mind is only tending to want, not what benefits the people that they exchange with on a daily basis, but their mind is just only geared on what they can gain from everybody out of the exchange. Did I get a win out of the exchange? Even if I was in a relationship, like some people say in a relationship, well, I already know that you're gonna probably cheat. I already know you're probably gonna leave like everybody else. So, however long this thing's gonna last, I'm gonna make sure that when it's over, I won, and I was victorious, and I got the most out of this, and I'm not leaving with a broken heart. I refuse, after all this is said and done, to be the one that's left heartbroken. So I'm gonna get what I can get from this relationship, however long it lasts, whenever it decides to dissolve. But I'm gonna make sure I come out the victorious one in this mentality. That's a person that's not going into a relationship with the idea of benefiting both parties. That's a person going into that relationship thinking, I better just get what I can and however long it's gonna last. If I can get these bills paid, if I can get a car out of this before it break down, if I can get some money, a couple credit cards, maybe some jewelry, I'm gone.
This ain't the mindset of a relationship. This is not a relationship mentality.
That's not somebody who's diligent tending to plenteousness or reaping the benefits for the body, for the collective. That's somebody that's going there with the mind frame that I got to get what I got to get and get out. A lot of people deal with each other in these exchanges. What can I get out of this individual? What can I get from this individual? Little, as petty as it may be.
I can't leave with nothing.
But you know what?
Well,
what I don't want to leave with is a broken heart.
Yeah.
Long as I don't leave with a broken heart and I'm not the one left hanging, then I feel victorious. I feel like I won. Read that again.
But chiefly them that walk after the flesh in the lust of uncleanness.
Go ahead.
And despise government.
And they despise what?
Government.
They despise authority. Read on. Because authority makes them be equal. They don't like anybody that's making them be fair. That's going to force me to be fair. And think outside myself. Read on.
Presumptuous are they.
Now we know the definition of presumptuous means what? Self-willed. Another definition of presumptuous means self-pleasing. Presumptuous is self-pleasing.
Oh, wow.
Yes, sir.
It's also go with self-preservation, right?
Yeah, self-preservation, but self-pleasing. That's a presumptuous person.
This is about my pleasure.
This is about what I can get out of this exchange. What can I gain from this? It's not about what I can offer, what I can give. It's more of the taker mentality. What can I gain out of this? Read on.
Self-will. They are not afraid to speak evil of dignities. Whereas angels...
Now stop. Go back to where we're at in Proverbs chapter 21. I just want to get another name for a person who is only tending to want. They don't do their service for the benefit of the body. They do their service for the benefit of them. And when they don't feel like they're getting anything out of their service, they start to withdraw their service or speak negative about the service.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, sir.
And this is not to be funny. Are takers fakers?
Very much so.
Because we're in a situation where we're having to exchange and everything has to be split down the middle. Mm-hmm. But one person believes this person is, thorough, or their main mind is for the benefit of the whole. But then that in the end, that's not the actual product.
Right.
But one would believe for how many years or months that this person's mind was here, but that person's mind really wasn't where that person said their mind was. So does that taking mentality also lead to being, dissimulation?
Yes, very much so. Very much so. It's fake. Dissimulation means fake or feign. Very much so, it's fake. Because I may go in the negotiation or commerce or exchange with somebody under the presence that I'm going to be just as loyal, just as fair, just as honest, just as equitable. But is that the case? No. So, we're going to break it down slow. Go back to Proverbs 21:6.
God, Proverbs chapter 21, verse 6.
So we understand That's presumptuous. It's self-pleasing. It's also arrogant. It's arrogance for a person, or prideful for a person to think that they're going to get a win out of every exchange. And they have the ability, or they're justified by exploiting and suppressing the other individual that they're dealing with. Read.
God, Proverbs 21:6. The getting of treasures.
That's why he said the getting of treasures, meaning when it comes to this dealing, when it comes to our negotiation, read.
By a lying tongue.
I'll do what?
Lie. By a lying tongue.
So what you just asked, was it fake?
I had to ask, because you would think these people or persons, their focus is mutual, the benefit of both parties or the whole. Because the conversations would project that.
Yep. Man. But what are they doing according to the scripture? Lying. They're lying. They're lying. They're deceiving you. They may say, "Hey, I'm in it for the greater good."
Yeah.
But
it's about us.
It's about us.
It's about us.
It's about the unit. It's about the body. It's about the core.
We're a team.
We're a team. But man, that team is heavily one-sided. The efforts are one-sided. The benefits are one-sided. The sacrifices are one-sided. So this is the origin of where offenses come from. We're still diagnosing the offenses, where they come from. Don't you get offended when you feel like you went into an exchange and you were left hanging? Yep. Or you were left treated a certain way, yep, and this was unfair, and this person dealt with me like this? But he said that person is what?
Lying.
It said the getting of treasure by what?
By a lying tongue is a vanity.
Stop. Now, let's explain what he's saying. He said that the getting of treasure by a lying tongue is a vanity. Go ahead.
Tossed to and fro of them that seek death.
So he says it's a fake feeling. The feeling that I won. That no matter how this thing dissolves, but I came out on top. Yeah, you may have lied, cheated, and stole to just say that you won. Just say that I got the better of the exchange between me and this individual. That little feeling that you get when you feel like I got a victory, the Most High call that feeling of vanity. Because that's not really a victory. You're really asking for what? Death. Because there is no victory in the exploitation of your people.
Wow.
There is no true victory when you lose your integrity and you don't operate with your everyday dealings with moral soundness. And there's not a mutual dealing. Remember that definition of integrity is in specifics, to deal mutually with your people. Where they reap the benefits. It's a mutual benefit of our exchange on a daily basis. But that feeling that I won, whether I finessed this person, whether I gained on this person, or this person was a sucker, or I got him, I beat him. That feeling that you got, the Most High call that feeling of vanity. Yes, sir.
Is it like that? Oh, you thought I really loved you?
Yeah.
That form.
Well, not even he thought I really love you, but you know what? The fact that regardless of what happens between me and you, I felt like I came out on top. I fared the better.
Yeah, I fared the better.
I fared the better. Things were leaning towards my favor. No matter what happens between me and you, things are in my favor. I don't feel bad. I don't feel bad because what? I won. He said that feeling that you get, that people get when they feel like they got a victory, that it's vanity. It's a useless feeling. So truly to exploit somebody and take advantage of your people for the sake of your gain is a fake feeling. Read on.
It says vanity, trifling labor that produces no good.
It said that produces what?
It says trifling labor that produces no good. Untruth.
So there it is right there. Trifling labor that produces what?
No good.
Now read verse 7.
Down, verse 7. Actually, we didn't finish.
We'll finish verse 6 and then hit verse 7.
Verse 6.
No, we didn't finish verse 6. Read verse 7.
So then we'll see what?
Yeah.
Okay. Verse 7. The robbery of the wicked.
And that's why the Most High calls this uneven exchange, that's imbalance of treatment of how you deal with your people every day, whether it's your brothers, whether it's your husbands, wives, sisters, whether it's whoever it is that your co-workers, whoever it is that you deal with on a daily basis. He said, when you have to get the victory no matter what, and you're not thinking about the good of the unit. He says that robbery, I'll lie to get what I want.
Wow.
I'll lie to get the advantage. I'll lie to get the upper hand. He said the robbery of the wicked.
The robbery of the wicked shall destroy them.
It said, who does it fall on? Who is the joke on at the end?
Robber.
It's on the robber, man. The joke's on the robber. The joke is on the taker. The joke is actually on the taker. The joke's on them. Even though they may have felt like I got a victory.
Initials.
I got a win. The joke in the end is on them. Yes, sir.
No, it's the same thing when people, you know what I'm saying, when they sell drugs, they feel
Yeah.
like they obtain the money that they get from it. At the same time, but this is all very legal. You know what I'm saying?
Well, because it's also you might have finessed for a time,
Yeah.
but that elevated, feeling, that dopamine that's rushing through your head, like I'm on top of the world, I'm gonna win forever, doesn't last very long.
Right. Because in order to sell drugs, you got to see money and not people.
Exactly.
You can't start looking at people because you have to numb your conscience.
Yep.
You can't really see, and this is for those people that really have a numb conscience. They'll sell dope to their own family members.
Yeah.
Because they've become desensitized, and at the end of the day, they will stoop to the lowest low for the money.
Say I'm just giving them what they want.
Yep.
Then also too, you got.
They'll say if I don't give it to them, somebody else gonna give it to them.
Too.
At least I know where the dope came from.
That's horrible.
Yeah.
At least I know what I put in it.
That's crazy.
At least I know the ingredients. So it's safer that they get it from me. That's how corrupt the mind will go when it comes to gaining at all costs.
Yeah.
I'll justify the most lewdest things. Yes, sir.
No, I was gonna say the last one I was gonna say was, they might feel like they get on top. It happens all the time, even with artists and industry games. They feel like they got to the top, they flossing, you know what I'm saying? They're showing their victories. But at the end of the day, they always get destroyed.
Yeah. Now most of us ain't dope dealers. I mean, ain't artists.
That's why I want to go.
But
We
I wanna
want
I mean,
to take the focus.
Let me. He had his hand up for a minute.
It's like,
No, I was just gonna say that also too. You got people that scam people like for money and stuff like that.
Credit card scamming.
Yeah, credit card.
we got scammers in the brother's house.
Yeah.
Listen, bro. We can't go up. Let's stop pointing the finger at people.
Yeah, we gotta look at in-house, man. We got in-house.
You got scammers at the B house.
Yeah. Go ahead, though.
You can't claim what plate. Who we all do push-ups out. No one knows who
Nobody knew who.
Everybody's doing those push-ups. Nobody knows who plays this out. Somebody doing those push-ups.
No left door open up.
Yeah.
Door just be magically left open up.
One guy deserves it. 5 guys, 3 guys, 4 guys don't.
The pot of beans been on the stove 5 days. Nobody claimed it.
Yeah. Nobody claims it.
Everybody touched it. It's everybody's fault.
Everybody walked past it.
Everybody walked past
that
it.
trash right there in the grass. Everybody walked past it. Everybody saw it. Nobody say nothing. We all live there though.
Yeah.
There's scammers amongst the Jews, huh? It's wicked balances.
Or you know what? I know you've been giving me a ride. I haven't offered you no gas.
Unless you bring it up.
Yeah.
Unless you say something.
Unless you say so. I ain't offer you.
If you
I ain't
pitch-
offer you a 5, a
Yeah.
10. I didn't even lean over and look at your gas.
I was gonna.
Let me look at it and see what you.
He got it.
Yeah, he got it. At least let me look at it and say, okay, he good, he good. I didn't even look at it, bro.
It's broken to the
No,
floor.
Yeah.
Broken on the floor and not the.
Yeah, not the empty.
Right there. That's my brother. That's my brother.
And then when the brother flips out, the brother flips out, like, I was just about to pull the money. I was just.
Yeah.
I was. As soon as
You
I
ruined it.
I was just about to come through. Right?
Yeah,
You're not the
patience,
spirit.
yeah, exactly.
I was just about to come through.
Yep.
We do that amongst each other. You want to point the finger at drug dealers?
No. Right? Read that. Verse 7.
Verse 7. The robbery of the wicked shall destroy them.
Why? Why is the joke always on them? Why?
They burn that bridge.
Read on.
Because they refuse to do judgment.
Because they refuse to do judgment. They refuse to do what's right in their dealings. They're always looking for the advantage. I'm always looking for the win. I'm always looking for the victory. I'm always looking for something to gain out of this situation between me and you. Meaning, I'm the taker. I'm the exploiter. So I enjoy exploiting people because it provides me with a satisfying feeling, which the Most High just said that satisfied feeling is vanity. It's a temporary feeling that you won. Or you lied to somebody and they were dumb enough to believe your lie. So it provided you with a little bit of satisfaction that this person was so dumb that they couldn't catch your lie.
See, people call that in the streets. They call it game on a lane.
Yep.
They call it game on a lane. They call it game on a lane. Well, I didn't make you believe it. I didn't put a gun to your head.
Yeah.
I didn't force you. It's what you wanted to do. They placed the blame on the party that got deceived. The party that took them as a better caliber person than they actually were.
Yep. And this is a taker. This is somebody who wants to win at all costs. Yes, sir.
Is it feeding on the sense of self-worth? Like I feel more valuable. I feel better about my sense of self that I got over you.
It can be rewarding to that sense. It can inflate the ego. You know, it can inflate the ego and the pride. Because remember, the origin of it is pride. It's a high look. Remember, a high look is when I look down on somebody else. That means you don't deserve me to be honest to you. That's the origin of it. You don't deserve me to tell you the truth. Who are you to where I have to tell you the truth? The origin of it is pride. It's a high look, meaning I don't have to respect you in this manner. You ain't nobody to me. Who are you to where I have to be honest to you? He said, but this individual, he said they destroyed themselves because they refused to do judgment. Let's go to what you got?
Definition just hits a point. You said perfect. Vanity, pride. Definition says empty pleasure.
It's an empty pleasure.
Unsubstantial enjoyment.
So people will lie to get that little bit of satisfaction because they want to feel like they got to win. They're tired of taking losses. So things are good. I got to get the victory. I got to get some type of joy out of our everyday exchange. Ecclesiastes 11 and 29 in the Apocrypha. Ecclesiastes chapter 11, verse 29. Read that.
Ecclesiastes 11 and 29.
What was the last thing you just said?
Ready?
You said people they'll get over you because they get some type of enjoyment.
Yeah, they get a temporary satisfaction.
Okay.
It's a small amount of joy and a little kick that they get out of lying to get the advantage. Read.
Ecclesiastes.
He's showing you the extremes that people will go to feel like they got the victory. They'll lie, cheat, steal to get that feeling. To get that feeling like they won. They gotta feel like they won. Read.
Ecclesiastes in the Apocrypha, chapter 11, verse 29. Bring not every man into thine house.
And that's why the scripture says what?
Bring not every man into thine house.
Because you got people that live with an imbalance. You got people that are imbalanced. You got givers and you got takers. That's why I said don't bring every man in your house. Because not everybody is for the benefit and the generosity and liberality of the body. Some people are takers. He said, bring not every man into the house. Read on.
For the deceitful man hath many trains.
He said he got many trains. When he said many trains, these are just different forms of wickedness. These are just different attributes of wickedness. You know, we meet a lot of men that say a lot of things because the condition that they're in, it forces them to somewhat be an opportunist. We got people that will say whatever to you, but these are opportunists. They're looking for an opportunity. They're looking for a win. They're looking for a gain. They're looking for a victory. They're looking for a come up. That's why it says, bring not every man into your house. He said, for a deceitful man has a diversity of ways of wickedness. His ways of wickedness are diverse. That deceitful man, one way is just, I got to make sure, even though I'm coming in under your hospitality opened the door for me.
Your purity of outlook.
Your purity of outlook and your integrity brought me in the house. But I'm not in this house thinking that way that you're thinking. I'm in the house thinking about what it is that I can gain. What it is that I can take. What it is that I can have. I'm not here under the notion that I'm coming to give. That I'm coming to share. And I'm coming to reap the benefits that you can enjoy. I'm here for things to be one-sided. He's going to explain. Read on.
Come, verse 30. Like as a partridge taken and kept in a cage.
He said like a partridge. A partridge is a little bird. Like you take a bird, you catch a bird and put him in a cage.
Little Tweety bird.
Little Tweety bird. But you better not open that door. Because you open that door, that bird been in that cage waiting. You know exactly what the exit is. He can't wait. He said like a partridge in a cage. Go ahead.
So is the heart of the proud.
It says so is the heart of what?
The proud.
So the proud is a taker. A prideful person is a taker. They'll exploit the weak. They'll exploit the innocent. They'll exploit the integrity of the just. Because they feel like they need a victory. Because they don't have to respect you. It's the downside of a prideful person. They create dysfunction, which in turn creates an offense. Read.
And like a spy, watching.
Like a what?
Like a spy.
Like a spy. How is a spy? A spy's job is to be covert. Covert meaning what? Undetected. A spy's job is to be undetected.
That's their job.
That's their job.
To blend in.
To blend
to get
in.
reconnaissance.
To blend in and hide in plain sight. I can come in under the notion that I'm equally invested.
Wow.
I can play my part. That's a spy. It's covert. Meaning I have an ulterior motive. But my job is to not let you know what my motive is.
I see you, but you don't see
give you a false motive.
Yeah. And a good spy will implant themselves in a position for a long time.
Yes. Esau.
They'll blend in. They'll work jobs. They'll speak perfect English.
Yep.
Or whatever it is. Some spies will speak Hebrew.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? They'll learn. But they're coming in not for the greater good of the body, but they're coming in to gather intel, gather information, to extract information. Look at the vulnerabilities. Look at the structure, how it's created, who's in charge, who's doing what, how things are run. Read on.
And like a spy, watcheth he for thy fault.
And he can't wait to catch you slipping.
Wow.
Catch you weak or catch you lacking. So the word of the young generation.
That's what I'm saying.
Catch you lacking.
Caught you lacking.
Yeah. But we got to go to Philo real quick, because what we want to show is that just like he said there's a fine line between buying and selling, sin sticketh close like a nail in a stone. And if you're not tethered to the fear of the Lord, you can easily become the exploiter, not the one that walks in integrity. And Philo just explains that between vice, a person executing their vices or exercising their vices, or a person exercising virtue, it's a very thin line. Let's go to Philo real quick. Chapter page 231.
This is not a new spirit.
No, it's not new. It's not new. Let's go to 231. Start at this line 41 right here. Read that to Just 41, 43. Stop right there. Say the circumstances. Read that.
Come, follow 231, line 41. But without proper opportunities,
It says, when speaking about virtue and vice, whether somebody's going to do you good or somebody's going to do you evil, he says they both require what?
proper opportunities.
They both require opportunities. See, if you give a person that lacks virtue an opportunity to exercise their vice, they will. All they both need is an opportunity. If you want to see the good of a person, all they need is an opportunity to show you that they're about virtue. Everybody needs what? An opportunity.
Proper opportunities.
It's a proper opportunity. But you can see the character of each if you give both of them an opportunity. Read that.
Come, it says, but without proper opportunities, virtues indeed exist.
He says virtues do exist in people. People just need a chance to show that they're virtuous. There is good in people. But then there's also what in people? There's also evil in people. And given the chance, they will show you the evil that's in them. And you'll find out if they're a giver or a taker, given the chance. But given the opportunity, both can be revealed. Go ahead.
But they are immovable and like silver and gold, which is of no use in the world, because it is treasured up in the secret recesses of the earth.
It says just like silver and gold, it's no good to you if you can't find it. If you don't see it. If you don't acquire it, dig it up, extract it out of the ground, what good is it just being in the ground? He said virtue and vice is the same way. Unknown and undetected, what good is virtue if it's not being displayed? It's not put in motion. Or how can you see vice if somebody's not trying to gain on you? You know, so he said they both lie undetected. They're both no good while they're in the ground. Read.
On the other hand, again, one can see innumerable persons, unmanly, intemperate, foolish, unjust, impious in their minds, but unable to fully display the disgraceful character of all their vices.
Stop. Read this again so you understand what he's saying. There's good that exists in everybody. But there's also bad that exists in everybody. And the bad, it comes in what forms? Read.
On the other hand, again, one can see innumerable persons.
It says you could see innumerable persons. Read.
Unmanly.
Unmanly. What else?
Intemperate.
Unmanly means feminine. You can see innumerable persons. Feminine, intemperate,
foolish.
Foolish. What else?
Unjust.
Unjust. What else?
Impious. In their minds.
Impious, and they have no reverence toward the Most High. The Most High don't live in their mind. What else?
But unable to fully display the disgraceful character of all their vices.
It says, but you can't see them. Just like we read right now, they're like a spy. You can't see people's intentions. You can't see if they're a giver or a taker. They lie undetected.
It's to be determined.
It's to be determined. Or to be continued.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You go ahead.
It says that unable to fully display the disgraceful character of all their vices by reason of the want of opportunity to sin.
It says by the reason of the want of what?
Of opportunity
because
to sin.
The reason why you don't really see them and for who they are is because you haven't given them a what?
An opportunity.
An opportunity. He said, but when you give a person an opportunity and you bring them close enough and you start dealing with them and start dealing and exchanging with them, you start to see what's really inside of people. You start seeing the filth. Like everybody's cute from the internet. Everybody cute from the pictures they post up. They catfishing.
Everybody's the cutest.
But you know, you don't really know that person until what? Until you meet them and then you go into a contract with them. Until you go into negotiations with them. Until you start to make a habitual point to deal with each other every day. Then once you start having everyday dealings with this person, that little beauty that you saw from the external side, that little beauty goes away. Then you start seeing the real person. Then what happens when you see the real person? What did I get myself into? This is a trap. This was a trap. This is a setup.
Whole TV show about that. Who did I marry?
Who did I marry? What about the guy that just recently died? and he finally told his wife and his daughter who he was for real.
Oh man, I didn't see that.
I didn't catch
Yeah,
What?
write it down.
Yeah, Edomite dude just died just about a couple weeks ago, and he been on the run from the FBI. He robbed a bank when he was like 22 or 25. Stole like what's equivalent to like today would be like 1.5 million.
Oh,
He
man.
stole that in like 70s, 80s.
I didn't know that.
And he finally, right before he died, he told his wife and his daughter his real name instead of his alias.
Wow.
And he told his wife and his daughter what he really did. And then he died.
Crazy guy.
You ain't know you know what you had, man. Yes, sir.
We usually say like you change,
Yeah.
but it's really like you're feeling who they really are. We usually
Just
say,
the projection.
You're a different person.
Yeah.
But they really,
Yeah, 'cause you can't fake it forever.
You can't see it, but people just need opportunity enough to show you what they're really about. Read.
Gone. It says, but if any important or frequent opportunities present themselves,
Exactly. When you given the opportunity, whether it's vice or virtue, they both need opportunity. Read on.
then filling earth and sea to its extremest boundaries with unspeakable wickedness,
It said then you'll really see that they'll fill the earth and the sea with unspeakable what?
wickedness.
You'll really see the depths of the wickedness of that individual if you give a person an opportunity.
Right.
Read.
and leaving nothing, whether great or small, uninjured.
He said they're leaving nothing uninjured. They tearing everything down.
Injurious person.
Right. Read on.
They overturn and destroy everything at one blow.
Wow.
For as the power of fire is quiet when it has no fuel.
They say you have no gasoline on the fire's what? It's quiet. It's quiet, man. Read.
But when there are proper materials, it blazes up. So also all the powers which have reference to the virtue or vice of the soul.
They said the soul, people's soul is the same way. You don't know what kind of soul you're dealing with until you bring it in close enough to get an opportunity. Then you start to see the quality of that soul. You start to see the virtues of that individual, what that person cares about, what they're into, how much they love, how much love they got, the depth of their love, their patience. You get to see all that. But you can't see a soul from a physical perspective. You can't see a soul just by looking at a person to know what's in that soul. You can't see that. Yes, sir.
That's with fire and investment.
No, what he's using fire as a metaphor. Like a fire, if it doesn't have the materials necessary, it can't burn. But it won't kindle. But when the things are present, when the necessary elements are present, then you start to see the depths of what's in that person. Then that person it will manifest itself. They'll manifest themselves in what they are. Yes, sir. Yeah, when they were, yeah, when they say money changed them. Yeah, when they came up on some money, then they told their whole persona changed, attitude changed, they taste changed, then everything became beneath them.
I knew it was that's great.
This is beneath me. I don't hang out with peons. It's beneath me. So, but just like that, yeah, it can change them. But what is that exact? Well, it's still pride. It's still based on pride. Finish that real quick.
It says of the soul are extinguished by want of opportunity, as I have said before, but are kindled by a favorable occasion and a happy concurrence of circumstances.
Right. So he says, but you don't see what's in them, but there'll be a favorable and happy concurrence of circumstances. Meaning, it all looks good until you give that person opportunity to reveal themselves. Then you don't get to see. That's why I said. Now let's go back to Ecclesiastes 11 and let's read verse 21. Let's finish it up.
Ecclesiastes 11 and 20. 11 and 21?
Yes, sir. We're at 29.
Yeah, we were at
29.
No, I'm sorry, not 21. 31. That's my eyes, man. So like 31.
Ecclesiastes 11 and 31. For he lieth in wait and turneth good into evil.
So he's showing you that there will be an imbalance. in your dealings with this individual. There will be an imbalance. There will be an offense. The things will become one-sided. Read on.
And in things worthy, praise will lay blame upon thee.
And they'll flip it around and blame you for the imbalance.
Yeah.
They'll blame you why things aren't fair. They'll blame you why things aren't equitable. Because you didn't realize what you got. Because you didn't know if you had a giver, or you didn't know if you had a what? A taker. And in this life, there lies those two. Givers and takers. And you don't know what you got until you get close enough and given the opportunity. Then you know what you got. Then you know what you're dealing with. Read on.
Verse 32. Of a spark of a fire, of a spark of fire, a heap of coals is kindled.
And now, just like we just read in Philo, all they need is what?
A spark.
Materials. The right materials.
The right situation.
The right circumstances.
Sad circumstances. Right ingredients, right?
That's all they need. Read.
Of a spark of fire, a heap of coals is kindled. And a sinful man lays wait for blood.
And you know what? That person, give that person opportunity, and they're going to lay wait for what?
Blood.
They're a taker. They're not a giver. They're a taker. Read on.
Huh. Take heed of a mischievous man.
That's why it said you better pay attention to who?
A mischievous man.
Because you don't know what you're dealing with. You just can't see a person and see what they are based off just looking at them. It requires more than that.
See, I never looked at what the word meant, mischievous. The word mischievous means hurtful, harmful, injurious, inclined to harm, inclined to do harm. This Webster. I didn't know what it meant that, bro. A mischievous person is inclined to do harm. We think mischievous just means I'm a naughty person. I'm just naughty. I'm just bad. I'm the anti-hero. Really, it's a person that's going to affect you in a negative way.
Before you know it.
Before you're conscious of
it. So if a person's inclined to do harm, this person is an offender. This is the offender. That we're still talking about what? Offenses. Now you're able to identify who?
the offender.
The offender. The offender is the taker. And the taker is somebody that has engulfed themselves in pride. It's pride. Pride breeds their offensive nature. Read on, finish that.
Con, Ecclesiastes 11:33. Take heed of a mischievous man, for he worketh wickedness, lest he bring upon thee a perpetual blot.
And who's going to be scarred? You. You're going to be scarred. Read on.
Receive a stranger into thine house, and he will disturb thee.
That's why you got to know the integrity of people. It's your job to identify people's integrity, because you don't see their beauty from face value. That's why I said beauty is vain and favor is deceitful. You need to look at integrity, people's justice. What are they about? Are they here for the body? Are they're about the generosity of the body? Or they're there to extract something? Read on.
It says, receive a stranger into thine house, and he will disturb thee, and turn thee out of thine own.
And won't be your house no more.
Damn. So you say that I'll jump into a camp, I'll jump into a brother's house, I'll jump into a relationship, I'll jump into an exchange, and completely change the rules.
Yep. And that there lies the imbalance.
Come.
Now even though it's my house, I make no decisions. I reap no benefits. You know, I'm now susceptible to following that other person's lead or direction. Read on. Let that go. Let's go to Proverbs. Back to Proverbs 21. We're now at verse 8. We're in Proverbs chapter 21. We're now at verse 8.
Proverbs chapter 21, verse 8.
Read that.
It reads, the way of man is froward and strange.
So that definition of froward means crooked and perverted. This is what this man is not just talking about men only. This is man is mankind, man and women. The ways of man is crooked and it's perverted. Read on. And it said, and it's strange. A definition of strange means criminal. That's actually the definition.
Oh, word.
Yes. In this particular verse, it means criminal. He says, so a criminal is looking to do what?
Crime.
Obtain unjustly. They're trying to obtain something unjustly. So he says, the ways of man is perverted, crooked, and criminal. Read on.
But as for the pure, his work is right.
But when you're dealing with a person with integrity, their work is what?
Right.
How do you know the difference?
The outcome.
Who's reaping the benefits? That's how you know
That's
the
how you
difference.
know what's up. What did it say when there's this famous painter? He might have broke it down years ago. Famous painter, and he started looking at all what he was good at was painting these big charts based off of these financial situations that happen.
His name was Mark Lombardi.
Huh.
Mark Lombardi was a neo-conceptualist artist, and he was actually educated out of Houston, and he was a librarian who was a master at researching information. And what he would do is put together these political art. He was a political artist, and he said he put these flow charts together that the FBI confiscated after he was found dead in his apartment mysteriously. The FBI confiscated all of his art because he created these flow charts that showed the flow chart said if you follow the money, you'll follow the corruption. You'll find the corruption. So all these flow charts were made with bubbles. And so the bubbles, he would take, say for example, if he took Richard Nixon, he would use Richard Nixon as a top bubble. Then he would break off, okay, well, who's funding Richard Nixon? So let's find out who funds him. So then the next chart, the next bubbles would be, where does Richard Nixon get his money from? What companies are lobbying for him? Then he would say, okay, well, let's take these two companies. Let's find out where they get their money from. So their money would come down into 2 more bubbles or 4 bubbles, and their money comes from these other lobbyists, politicians. Then he say, okay, well, where are these politicians getting their money from? Okay, their money's coming from false campaigns. Then they find out, okay, well, where's the false campaign money coming from? Oh, it's coming from prostitution, gambling, Vegas. So basically what he said is if you follow the money, you'll follow the corruptness of the individual. Based on what you say.
That's perfect, bro.
But go ahead. I didn't want to
It's perfect. Read
explain
again
that.
the scripture.
Verse 8. The way of a man is forward and strange, but as for the pure, his work is right.
Because the way of a man, I'm doing things that are strange or criminal for my personal benefit. And you can see this play out in the public theater. You can find it play out in the interpersonal theater, the theater of interactions with people. We're attacking drug dealers and scammers. Well, it's narcissistic supply. What I really want. Even we know they want big money. But what do we want? Because we ain't fighting. We're not really grubbing for money too much. But I want my way. I want to look right. I can't be checked. I want to feel a certain way. We're looking for supply no different than you.
Yep.
I have because a criminal has an unjust desire. But what makes it criminal is the root of his thinking, his desire. So do we have unjust desires? I'm dealing with a brother, I want to win. I'm dealing with a sister, I want the gain. I'm dealing with the camp, I want my way because I gotta have my mutual benefit. I gotta have my benefit. I want to take more than I want to give.
Yep.
I have my personal objective is the point.
Yep.
So a wicked person has wicked personal objectives. My personal objective is wrong. It's not subject to the scriptures. It's subject to how I feel or what I think is right. Like just what's at the beginning of the class.
Yep.
But that same concept extends to politics, extends to everyday living.
Yep. Read on.
Verse 9. It is better to dwell in a corner of the housetop than with a brawling woman and in a wide house.
So he's showing you that brawling woman is also a taker. That's not a giver. That's not a giving spirit. What is she brawling for?
Well, she
Her
fighting.
way.
Control. She wants to take control.
That's the objective.
That's the objective. That's the objective of the brawling woman is to take control. There's a purpose and a means to the madness. There's a purpose. There's a reason for the brawling, contentious nature. Because I'm trying to sway things to go what? My way. That's not a giver. That's a taker. Read on.
Down verse 10. The soul of the wicked desireth evil.
He said the soul of the wicked desired what?
Evil.
Go ahead.
His neighbor findeth no favor in his eyes.
What does this mean? This means that there will always be need-based behavior or treatment to people. People will always treat you based upon the need that they have of you. You're not getting basic respect. You're not getting love. People ain't giving you that for nothing. In life, you're getting need-based treatment. If people have a need of you, they treat you a certain way until they get that need. And then once they obtain that need and that desire, then what? They'll find favor in you. There's no more favor.
I don't need you.
I don't need you no more. There's no more favor in you.
Yeah.
Because I got what I needed from you.
Wow.
So now, how do you fall out of love with somebody?
Wow.
Yes, sir.
There was this celebrity divorce, and a woman said, "I divorced him because it wasn't fun."
Well, then what was her desire?
He wanted a good time.
If she wanted a good time.
Not a long time.
See, she wasn't meant for the long haul. She didn't go into a relationship for the long haul. It was something that individual wanted, and people in life will treat you a certain way until they obtain what they want from you. You're gonna get need-based treatment in life. And as soon as somebody don't need you, as soon as they've obtained and they had their fill and extracted what they wanted from you, then they don't find no favor in you no more. There's no more favor. Favor, by definition, is kindness. They don't treat you kind no more. Why not? Because they used you. They got what they wanted.
There's no benefit being kind.
There's no benefit to being kind now. I got what I wanted. I'm telling you, that's his life. It's your job to recognize people's spirits. It's your job to recognize the soul. That's why we're going through this.
Wow.
So that you can understand what's going to fit, where the offenses come from, where the imbalance comes from. Because some people are in it for them. And once they got what they got what they want, hey, I wipe my hands with you. Move on to the next one or go about my business. And then that's how many men and many women are left hurt. Man, I put in years for this individual. You know what I sacrificed for this person? You know what I lost and what I invested in a situation? There's always the offender, and then there's always the offendee. There's one that put in the most, got the less, and there's the other one that put in the less and got the most.
I gotta say this. This is the lyrics from Rihanna's song called "Needed Me." It says exactly what you're saying. It says,
That's why I listen to y'all.
she's a demon. It says, what you complaining for? Feeling jaded, huh? Used to trip off that I was kicking to you. Had some fun to run, though I'll give it to you. But baby, don't get it twisted. You was just another on the hit list. Trying to fix your any issues with the bad chick. Didn't they tell you I was a savage? Wow. Forget your white horse and carriage. Bet you never could imagine.
So that's a good song.
Never told you.
Wow.
Never told you you could have it. You needed me.
It sounds great.
Wow, bro.
Sounds great. On the track. There, something devil.
When the beat hits, but she was
Hey, bro. that woman sell records.
But there's a spirit behind people loving this song now.
There's something about the music.
It justifies takers, huh?
It's a taker. She's explaining to you that you got gamed on, and you got took, and that's a celebrated record.
You know what this was? No, that's Sandler. You know what this was?
Well, you know, it's your job to recognize what it was. You didn't see it. You didn't see me coming. That's your loss.
It's on you.
It's on you. Read that again.
God, verse 10. The soul of the wicked desireth evil.
This is garbage.
Well, it is.
I have a garbage objective on it with people.
Yep. Read on.
The soul of the wicked desireth evil. His neighbor findeth no favor in his eyes.
Right, because I got what I want. Now there's no reason for me to treat you with kindness. Favor is kindness.
Yeah.
Mercy, friendship. Why are we talking about being friends? I don't need to be your friend anymore. I got what I wanted. That's what kindness. That's what favor is.
Bye bye.
Kindness, friendship, and mercy.
God.
I thought this person loved me. How come they're so merciless? Because they were in it for who? Themselves. Read.
God, verse 11. When the scorner is punished, the simple is made wise.
That's why he said when a scorner is punished, the simple is made wise. When you catch this individual, when this individual, that taker mentality is stung. Read on.
And when the wise is instructed, he receiveth knowledge. The righteous man wisely considereth.
Hold on.
God.
We're in Proverbs 21:10, right?
I just read 11.
Okay, before we go on, go to Ecclesiastes 27 and 22. I don't want to miss this point.
Wow.
So when you said that when the scorner is punished, the simple is made wise, is because like now I know the game. I know the game has been played on me now.
The game has been recognized.
Okay.
So now that particular method of craftiness has been unveiled. Ecclesiastes chapter 27, verse 22.
Ecclesiastes chapter 27, verse 22.
Yep.
It says, "He that winketh with the eyes worketh evil."
So it's your job to recognize who's doing what.
Evil.
Nope.
Oh, he that winketh with the eyes. Right.
What does that mean when he's saying he that winketh with the eye worketh evil? What does that mean?
Yeah, saying one thing and doing another.
No.
Overlooking.
Say again. No. Somebody that winketh with the eye. He's talking about literally winking with the eye.
Yeah.
Now. Interrogators are masters at what?
Body
language.
Facial recognition too.
Yeah.
Like a sign of trust, right? Trust me, right?
Yeah.
I just gotta do it. Like I can only explain the thing. Trust me, right?
Yeah. You trust me, right? You with me, right? Yeah. You know, it's somebody that's it's something that's telling you that they're not being honest.
Eye movement.
Their body is not matching their speech.
I'll give an example. Me and Nathaniel was at the precinct the other day because there was a crime in an apartment complex that we were at, but they took license plates for everybody. And so anybody that was at the complex, they took license plates. So they got Nathaniel's license plate, and so they wanted a report from him, or a statement. Why was he down there? So I went down there to explain, hey, this is the nature of our job. This is the reason and the motive why we're there. And then the detective was like, we gave him a statement in the lobby of the precinct. He kept saying, y'all want to come up and kind of explain some things? Y'all want to come upstairs and kind of give a better statement, a written statement? Y'all want to come upstairs with me? And he kept winking. And I thought about the scripture. And I say, you know what? Man, listen, man. You got the statement right here in the lobby. As far as we going, right there. There's no need for us to go up to your office in your precinct on the 3rd floor and behind closed doors to give an additional statement. You kept winking, but I had this in mind. We just gave you the statement. You got written proof, evidence of the nature of our location and why we were there, the nature of our business, what we were about. We have witnesses that can vouch for us. But this guy wanted more. He kept winking. Read it again.
Ecclesiastes chapter 27,
Straight
verse
from I talk to
22.
us, tell us to study.
Yeah.
He that winketh with the eyes worketh evil.
Right, because he's trying to do anything to gain your acceptance. That wink is a little deceitful nature to gain your acceptance. to gain your approval. Read.
And he that knoweth him will depart from him.
And if you can recognize that, it's your job to recognize that.
Yep.
So it's little signs and indicators for that people that are takers and people that are givers. You better start recognizing, picking up on the little bitty observable signs that is your job. Otherwise, you're gonna get took. You're gonna get took. You're gonna be offended. You can see things if you're discreet enough. That's why he's saying if you know that person, he said you'll do what?
It says, and he that knoweth him will depart from him.
If you can recognize it, a taker and a giver. If you can recognize a taker, you will do what?
Depart from him.
Yeah, but sometimes there's no way to depart. Yeah, you stuck. You're in an agreement. Read on.
Verse 23. It says, and when thou art present, he will speak sweetly and will admire thy words.
Go ahead.
But at the last, he will writhe his mouth.
He will twist his mouth. Writh means to twist his mouth. Read.
He will writhe his mouth.
Go ahead.
And slander thy sayings.
So now, you may not recognize the soul of the people that you deal with. You may not. You don't know what you got until the opportunity is present. Right? Read on.
Verse 24. It says, I have hated many things.
It says, and that's why Solomon said, I hated many things. Read on.
It says, I have hated many things.
Go
but
ahead.
Nothing like him.
Nothing like a taker, man. But he's showing you that in life there's distinguished personalities, takers and givers. The takers are the worst. Read on.
It says, for the Lord will hate him.
So, bingo. Is it your job to hate the taker? Whose job is it to hate the taker? It's the Most High's job to hate the taker. It's your job to forgive him. It's the Most High's job to hate him. So, this is why when you're dealing with with your people, there's going to be some unjust dealings with your people. But it's not your job to hate them. It's your job to forgive them. The Most High hates that individual. This is what should give you confidence enough to be hands-free in revenge. I don't got to get revenge even though I've been took. You got a bigger problem on your hands. You offend who? This is why I don't have to revenge myself. This is why I don't have to defend myself. Because that spirit that's in you is already hated by the Lord. What does he need my additional little petty hate for? It's already hated. If we understand what we're reading, you don't have to hate nobody even if they are the taker. Why? That's not your job. The Most High, that's the Most High's job. That's his job to rectify that. He identifies that as the spirit that he hates. Your job is to recognize it, forgive in the event that you've been taken advantage of, or that there's been an imbalance. Do you really believe that the Most High will bring justice? Or would you not rather give that person an opportunity because you can recognize when you've been a taker in life? And you want somebody to forgive you as well. Read that point again.
Ecclesiastes chapter 27, verse 24. It says, I have hated many things, but nothing like him. For the Lord will hate him.
Now go back to Romans chapter 12, verse 19, like we started. Romans chapter 12, verse 19. Romans chapter 12, verse 19. Whoever got it.
Romans 12 and 19. Dearly beloved, avenge not yourself.
That's why it says, dearly beloved, do what?
Avenge not yourself.
You don't have to get revenge. You don't have to defend yourself. Read.
But rather give place unto wrath.
It says, but rather do what?
But rather give place unto wrath, for it is written.
Now stop. Let's take a look at that. What does it mean to give place for wrath? Go to Psalms 38 and read verse 12 through 14. Let's get an idea what that means when he says give place for wrath. How do you do that? How do you give place for wrath knowing that you're dealing with a taker? A one-sided, lopsided individual that's proud, arrogant, self-pleasing, presumptuous, and perverse. How do you deal with that? Psalms 38. Read that.
Well, Psalms 38 and 38 and 12. They also that seek after my life lay snares for me, and they that seek my hurt speak mischievous things and imagine deceits all the day long.
Well, he said all the day long, right?
God.
So he's pressed upon by imbalanced, unjust people. People with no integrity. How does David deal with it? Read.
But I, as a deaf man.
How does David deal with it?
As a deaf man.
How does David deal with intemperate people?
As a deaf man.
He responds to it.
As a deaf man.
He gets revenge on them.
As a deaf man.
How does David deal with intemperate individuals?
As a deaf man.
What is a deaf man like?
Heard not.
A deaf man can't hear nothing, can he? Nope. He said, so he operates as a what?
A deaf man.
Read.
Heard not.
He said, I don't hear that, man. Although I know you're an offender. Although I know you have it out for me. Although I know you wish the worst on me. He said, but as a deaf man, I do what?
Heard not.
That's what it means to give place for wrath. I don't hear your evil. I don't respond to your evil. I see it, but I'm hands-free. I don't hear it. You got a problem with who? The Most High. So I don't got to respond to your negativity. That's my power. Hear no evil, see no evil, right? Speak no evil, right? Little monkeys with the little hands on their face. David said, as a deaf man, I do what?
Heard not. And I was as a dumb man.
A dumb man can't speak. Dumb means mute. Meaning you don't have the ability to speak. He says, a deaf man, I don't hear your evil. He says, a mute man, a dumb man, a man that can't speak, I what?
That openeth not his mouth. Thus I was as a man that heareth not, in whose mouth are no reproofs.
And in my mouth is no what?
No reproofs.
Listen, I don't got to get revenge on you. I don't got to respond to your negativity, and I don't got to seek. I don't have to live my life holding a grudge against you, because that's what we do. We live life holding grudges. We live life snapping on people that because we feel like, you know what, I got to defend myself. Well, where's your faith at? Who's your faith in? We already reading who David is praying to. He's already telling the Most High. He said, man, read verse 11.
Verse 11, my lovers and my friends stand aloof.
He said, man, they stand separate from me. They don't keep company with me. Read on.
From my sword and my kinsmen.
They're watching me suffer. He said, and my kinsmen what?
And my kinsmen stand afar off.
And I don't got no help in my situation. Well, guess what? Who is your help in that situation?
The Most High.
The Most High is your help in that situation. Remember, in life, there's givers and takers. You got to depend on the Most High to preserve you from these individuals. You can't respond to it. You don't have to respond to it. You don't have to speak against them. You don't have to speak against their reproof. What David is explaining is what David did. Go to 1 Samuel chapter 24 verse 9.
God. 1 Samuel chapter 24 and verse 9. And David said to Saul, Wherefore hearest thou men's words, saying, Behold, David seeketh thy hurt. Behold, this day thine eyes have seen how that the Most High had delivered thee today into mine hand.
He said, you heard that men may have told you that I was trying to kill you. He said, well, the Most High revealed it to you to this day that I had the opportunity to do you hurt. Remember, vice and virtue both need what? Opportunities. He said, I had the chance to do you hurt. I had the chance to destroy you. Read on.
Behold, this day thine eyes have seen how that the Most High had delivered thee today into mine hand in the cave. And some bade me to kill thee.
And my own men told me to do what?
Kill thee.
Man, kill him, man. Yeah, you got him. This your chance.
He had the peer pressure on him, man.
Yeah, man. You know what? And you know they saying the things he want to hear, man. The Lord, there's no such thing as a coincidence. This is no coincidence. He's vulnerable. He's in a cave. Nobody even knows you did it.
He just died.
He just died. Never came out. He never came out the cave. They'll find him in there slave. They'll think an animal did it. But he said, even though his men told him, man, kill him. Read on.
But mine eye spared thee.
He said, but my eye did what?
Spared thee.
He said, my eye spared thee, man. See, so this is how you got to deal with offensive people. You don't have to respond to them. You can be deaf to their offenses. You can be mute. You don't have to speak against them. And you don't have to go blow for blow with them and toe for toe with them. You can spare them. Yes, sir.
Yeah, pity on.
Yeah, pity on them. Very critical word right there, too. Very critical word. Pity is very important. Read.
And I said, I will not put forth my hand against my Lord.
He called him what?
My Lord.
No different than you saying, you know what? That's my brother. So although my brother's crooked, you know what? I'm not going to put my hand against. I don't have to raise my hand against my people. I don't have to take vengeance in my own hands. You don't have to do it. If that person is crooked and perverse, they're already an enemy to the Most High. Read on.
For he is the Most High's anointed.
It said Saul is the Most High's anointed. Read on.
Moreover, my father, see, yea, see the skirt of thy robe in my hand.
David cut a little piece of Saul's skirt, his robe. He just took a little piece, maybe a little tassel or something, little fringe. Read on.
For in that I cut off the skirt of thy robe and killed thee not.
I just want to show you the evidence that I was in this proximity of you, and I could have taken vengeance in my own hand. I could have got my vengeance against you. I had the opportunity. Here's the evidence that I had the opportunity. Read on.
Know thou and see that there is neither evil nor transgression in mine hand, and I have not sinned against thee.
He said, and I haven't done you nothing wrong, man. I didn't sin against you, even though I had the opportunity. Read on.
Yet thou huntest my soul to take it.
Go ahead.
The Most High judge between me and thee.
He said, who's the judge?
The Most High.
Why didn't David kill him?
It's not his place.
Because David didn't want to take the place of the Lord. When we read Romans chapter 12, verse 19, he said, vengeance is mine, said the Lord. I shall repay. You don't take the Most High's job from him. His job is to judge, critique, and punish wickedness. That's not our job. That's why our job, when it comes to us, is to be like what David did. I showed some pity, some mercy, some compassion. I didn't hold it against him, let him slide. Even when I could have got some temporary joy out of executing my wrath. Read on.
It says, the Most High judge between me and thee, and the Most High avenge me of thee.
It says, and who will be my avenger?
Most High.
The Most High will be my avenger. That's why you don't have to respond to the wickedness that's in men. in your everyday dealings. There's going to be some crookedness and some perverseness in your everyday exchanges with people. But it's not your job to avenge yourself. You don't have to. Your job is to forgive. Yes, sir.
I love what you're saying, Joshua, because this is going to destroy the fact when people say, "Oh, you just defending them. You just looking out for them." But this is what we're supposed to be doing in the first place. I love what you're doing.
You know what? You know what has to happen by letting the Most High deal with them. You know what? By being hands free. What's going to happen to Saul? Read on.
Come, it says, "The Most High judge between me and thee, and the Most High avenge me of thee."
He said, the Most High going to get you for me. That's the worst thing you could tell somebody, man. Because then the fear is greater. The reality of, you know what? You know, maybe I am wrong. Read on.
Come, "But mine hand shall not be upon thee."
And that's why you have to be hands free. You don't have to avenge somebody's wickedness against you. There's going to be offenses. So be it. You know what? The Most High got that person under his rulership. Nobody escapes the eyes of the Most High. Read on.
Come, verse 13. "As saith the proverb of the ancients, wickedness proceedeth from the wicked."
He said wickedness come from who?
From the wicked.
So that's the root of it.
That's the root of it.
You said pride behaviors.
Yep. And that's what pride brings. Remember, he said pride was not made for who?
Man.
Pride was not made for man.
Yeah.
He said, but this wickedness is from the wicked. And the Most High will avenge that wickedness. Those takers, the exploiters, the unjust ones that don't walk with integrity. Read on.
"But mine hand shall not be upon thee. After whom is the king of Israel come out? After whom dost thou pursue? After a dead dog? After a flea?
David called himself what?
A dog after a flea."
He said a dead dog.
Come.
David reduced himself. David reduced himself with meekness. He called himself a dead dog. He said, I'm a dead dog, man. I'm a nobody. He said, I'm a flea. A flea? He said, I'm a flea. I'm a nobody. Who's the Most High going to be with? Let's find out. Hold that. Hold where you at. And let's go to Psalms 18 and 46. And we're going to come back and finish this.
Psalms 18 and 46. The Lord liveth, and blessed be my rock, and let the power of my salvation be exalted.
Read on. He said, he's the power of my salvation. Read on.
It is the Most High that avenges me.
Whoa, he said what?
It is the Most High that avenges me.
Do you have to avenge wickedness?
La.
Who do you depend on to avenge wickedness?
The Most High.
That's his job.
That's his job. Don't take his job from him. Read.
And subdueth the people under me.
He said, and he will subdue the people under me. Read on.
He'll put them in check.
Verse 48. He delivereth me from mine enemies.
Go ahead.
Yea, thou liftest me up above those that rise up against me.
Read on.
Thou hast delivered me from the violent man.
He said, he delivers me from the who?
The violent man.
The perverse, violent individuals, the takers, the criminal minds, the criminal, the perverse and strange. Those are the ones that David said, man, the Most High delivers me from these individuals. The ones that are lopsided. They're all about gain and no give. They're all take and no give. He said, the Most High restores me from these individuals. Read on.
Verse 49. Therefore will I give thanks unto thee, O Lord, among the heathen, and sing praises unto thy name. Great deliverance giveth he to his king, and sheweth mercy to his anointed, to David, and to his seed forevermore.
Now go back and finish where we're at in 1 Samuel and verse 15.
1 Samuel chapter 24 and verse 15. The Most High, therefore, be judge, and judge between me and thee, and see, and plead my cause.
He said, the Most High will plead my cause. Read.
And deliver me out of thine hand. And it came to pass, when David had made an end of speaking these words unto Saul, that Saul said, is this thy voice, my son David?
Now you're calling him my son. You just tried to kill him. He's been on the run, and you chased him up in the mountains, and now you're calling him my son David. What is that now? That's deception. That's that winking of the eye. That's that wickedness that's in him.
My son, David.
My son. Now you speaking like in terms of endearment. Read.
And Saul lifted up his voice and wept.
But what did it do? What did David's actions do to Saul? It cut his conscience. It cut him to the heart. When you leave vengeance to the Most High, and you don't take vengeance into your hand, and you let it be known to these individuals, I'm gonna show you mercy, even though you meant something alternative for me. It digs into their conscience. It affects their conscience. Because they don't feel bad. Because they look down on you, because from a prideful perspective, that's what pride does. It gives a person an elevated look. So they look down on you anyway, so they don't feel anything for you. They're calloused when they look at you. But they're not callous when they look at the Father. Read.
Oh, my bad. I'm sorry. Verse 17. And he said to David, thou art more righteous than I.
Saul said what?
Thou art more righteous than I.
Man, you're a better man than me. Read.
For thou hast rewarded me good.
He said, you rewarded me what?
Good.
For what?
It says, whereas I have rewarded thee evil.
He said, although I've been evil to you, and you paid me back with what? Kindness, man. That's our job. See, that's why the title of the class is called Hands-Free Forgiveness. You don't got to do nothing. You don't got to do nothing to nasty people. Let the Most High deal with them. Let the Most High judge them. Let the Most High get vengeance upon them. The Most High restores the meek and the lowly. Those are the ones he protects. Those are the ones that he takes the sides of. That's why David called himself a flea. Somebody doing dirt, being one-sided, let him be that way. David said, man, I'm mute. I put that on mute.
Yeah.
I mute that. I don't hear that. You got a bigger enemy. The Most High is your enemy. I'm not your enemy. That's why it took that for Saul to see himself. Otherwise, Saul would never see himself. Uh-oh. Read. I think she fell. She got it.
Verse 18. And thou hast showed this day how that thou hast dealt well with me. For as much as when the Most High had delivered me into thine hand, thou killest me not. For if a man find his enemy, will he let him go well away? Wherefore, the Most High reward thee good for that thou hast done unto me this day.
Now we're about to wrap up class. Go back to Luke 17, verse 1. I hope it's easy to understand. Luke chapter 17, verse 1.
Luke chapter 17, verse 1. Then said he unto the disciples, it is impossible, but that offenses will come.
They said, yeah, you're going to be offended because in life there's what? No, there's what kind of people?
Takers.
There's takers and givers.
Two categories of people.
And both of these individuals, one will lead a life of vice and one will lead a life of virtue. But regardless, Your job is to focus on what? You. Make sure you're not the taker. Make sure you're the giver, not the taker. Make sure you're not the enemy of the Most High. He said what?
It is impossible, but that offenses will come. But woe unto him through whom they come.
The danger is the person who's bringing about the offenses. And we just read the nature and explained the nature of the offensive individual. They're filled with pride, violence. They're filled with arrogance. They're self-willed, self-pleasing. They're about imbalance, and when it comes to exchanges, they're about gain throughout the exchange. They're about abundance in the midst of the exchange. He's telling you the characteristics of the taker. Make sure you're not the offender. Read on.
Verse 2, it were better for him that a millstone were hanged about his neck.
Go ahead.
And he cast into the sea, than that he should offend one of these little ones.
So now we know the punishment for the offenders. Ecclesiastes 21 and verse 1. Ecclesiastes chapter 21 verse 1.
Ecclesiastes 21:1. My son, my son, hast thou sinned? Do so no more, but ask pardon for thy former sins.
He said, if you made mistakes, if you've been an offender, he said, make sure you don't do it no more. Repent from your sins. We've all been that offender. All of us ain't been the givers. We've been the takers too. Some of us are well aware of that. We're very offensive. He said, but if you sin, he said, my son, hast thou sinned? Which we know ain't no man that sinneth not. Read.
Do so no more, but ask pardon for thy former sins.
Go ahead.
Flee from sin, as from the face of a serpent. For if thou comest too near it, it will bite thee. The teeth thereof are as teeth of a lion.
He said, because your negative will come back and bite you. The joke is on you, the offender, the sinner. You never walk away unscathed, unpunished. Read on.
Slaying the souls of men. Verse 3. All iniquity is as a two-edged sword.
He said, all iniquity is as what?
Two-edged sword.
So although you may have it out for somebody, it comes back and hits who? It hits you. You may thought to do evil to somebody and get away with it and have the advantage, but actually the joke is on you. You fare the worse. Read on.
The wounds thereof cannot be healed. Verse 4. To terrify and to do wrong.
To terrify and to do wrong is an oppressor. He said to terrify and to do wrong, that's an oppressive person. A taker. Extorter, a bully. Read on.
To terrify and to do wrong will waste riches.
And you destroy your own riches. Read on.
Thus the house of proud men shall be made desolate.
And what's the root of that oppression? Is what? It's pride. It all comes from pride. Looking down on other people. Offenses come from one person having an inadequate amount of pride. An imbalanced amount of pride. Pride is an unduly high opinion of oneself. That's the root of offense. It all comes from a person's pride. Read on.
It says, thus the house of the proud man shall be made desolate. A prayer out of a poor man's mouth.
And that's why it's better to be the offendee versus the offender. Because he says, you can pull it after this. He said, because after being the offendee, you're the poor man. Like David said, I'm a dead dog. I'm a flea. I'm a poor man. Read.
A prayer out of a poor man's mouth reaches to the ears of the Most High.
So whose words reach the ears of the Most High? The offender or the offendee? The offendee. Not the offender. They get punished and overthrown. But the offendee, the person that's not walking with pride, the Most High restores those individuals and listens to those individuals and takes those individual sides. Not the ones walking around justified, extorting and exploiting people, trying to get the best out of every exchange. The Most High is dealing with the meek, man. He raised up the meek and the lowly. Read that last part again, and then now we want to bring this in.
Ecclesiastes 21:5. A prayer out of a poor man's mouth reacheth the ears of the Most High, and his judgment cometh speedily.
And the Most High represents and protects and defends the poor. How fast?
Speedily.
Speedily, man. Quick.
Same point. Micah 6:11
Get that.
through 13.
Get that.
It's perfectly saying
Con.
what you're saying. It's perfect. Makes sense.
Con. Micah chapter 6 and verse 11.
Gone.
Shall I count them pure with the wicked balances?
Because that wicked balance is the exchange between people. How it's supposed to be fair interactions, proper on both sides.
Come.
Read.
And with the bag of deceitful weights?
But underneath the surface, what I can't perceive is that there's a bag of deceitful weights. That's that spirit with improper judgments, improper assessments of things. Read.
For the rich men thereof are full of violence.
Now we know why the rich man is full of violence. Because violence means harm. A person is have with desire. The rich man is the man with the desire to gain. I have desire to gain off this interaction with people.
I have nothing to gain out of this interaction.
I want to win. Right? Read.
And the inhabitants thereof has spoken lies.
It's that spirit of I'm presenting one thing. I'm in this relationship, I'm in this bond with you.
Yep.
But my words don't match my actions. Read.
And their tongue is deceitful in their mouth.
Read on.
Therefore, also will I make thee sick in smiting thee.
And it's that judgment. You might have won in the beginning. You might have gained a small victory. Most of the time, I'm going to make you sick in smiting. You're going to be sick of the sting I got for you.
That's heavy.
People ignore, and they, I won, so I'll take whatever I got to take, but as long as I got my victory. Listen, I'm going to make you sick by the smiting of you. Read.
Therefore, also will I make thee sick in smiting thee.
Read on.
In making thee desolate because of thy sins.
And the end product, I'm going to make you, all the victories you got, all those L's all those W's you got off gaining so-called lanes and gaining people that trusted you and
Taking advantage of people.
Taking advantage of all this track record of people that you have offended. You're going to be desolate and lack in the end because of your mistakes against his people, against the righteous, against the givers. Read on.
Verse 14. Thou shalt eat.
But you don't get what you want. You enjoy your little victory. Enjoy your empty
pleasure.
Your empty pleasure. Enjoy your empty pleasure. Read.
But not be satisfied.
But the key point is you're not going to be what?
Satisfied.
And the wicked are always dissatisfied. They're never happy. They're always upset. Read.
And thy casting down shall be in the midst of thee, and thou shalt take hold, but shall not deliver.
You're not going to deliver.
Yep.
There won't be deliverance for you. You're going to lose out. You're throwing away your salvation by offending his people. That was all the point of it.
Romans chapter 12. We read verse 19, right? We're gonna read up just a little bit, and we're gonna then read down. We're gonna start at like verse 15. Verse 9. Start at verse 9. Because Dawi had asked us earlier, and we could have went here, but I didn't want to get to it yet, about that love not being real. You know what I'm saying? And we read about a liar will do whatever to get a vain victory. A liar will say anything to get a vain victory. But he said, this is why our love got to be what? Read that. Romans chapter 12, verse 9.
Chapter 12, verse 19. Dearly beloved, avenge not yourselves, but rather give place unto wrath.
Romans chapter 12, verse 9.
Oh, I think it's in 19. Verse 9. Let love be without dissimulation.
That's why your love got to be what?
Without dissimulation.
Your love cannot be one-sided, to where you only reap the benefits out of the exchange of the interactions with your people. And your everyday dealings with people, your love has to be authentic. He'll explain what that means. Read.
Abhor that which is evil.
Go ahead.
Cleave to that which is good.
Go, and that's a choice. Read on.
Be kindly affectionate one to another.
That means I got to be kindly affectionate and attached, dearly attached one to another. Meaning what I care about is what they care about. Read on.
With brotherly love.
Go ahead.
In honor. Preferring one another.
It says in honor doing what?
Preferring one another.
To make sure that I'm not the taker, I have to put the needs of other people before who?
Myself.
That guarantees that I'm not the taker. That guarantees me to be the giver.
Wow.
Is when I put the needs of other people before me. If I stay in that mentality, where your problems are more important than my problems, what you need in your life is more important than what I need in my life, then it keeps me on a safe side of not being an offender.
I won't be the enemy of God.
I won't be God's enemy. But I'll be the giver. Read on.
Verse 11. Not slothful in business.
Read on.
Fervent in spirit.
It says, because it says, a slothful man, his poverty shall come as what? A man armed, right?
Yeah, armed man.
An armed man. So it's showing you that a slothful man will become desperate. And if I get desperate, then I become what?
Robert.
I become a robber.
Oh,
I become
man.
a taker.
I got to.
So I have to not be slothful in business. Because if I get slothful, then I'm gonna get in this desperate mind frame where I'm gonna start offending people and not care about who I offend because I have needs.
What about me?
Yeah, but I'm desperate though. I'm only desperate because I'm slothful. Read on.
Serving the Lord. Rejoicing in hope. Patient in tribulation.
Go ahead.
Continuing instant in prayer.
Read on.
Distributing to the necessity of saints. Given to hospitality.
And this protects me. It keeps me in the Most High's good graces when I'm always putting the needs of others before myself. I put myself as the giver, not the taker. You protect yourself that way. Read on.
Verse 14. Bless them which persecute you. Bless and curse not.
Now, David said he put it on mute. Paul said, give him a blessing in return. Bless him back. Read.
God. Verse 15. Rejoice with them that do rejoice, and weep with them that weep.
That means I'm attached by the hip. That means I'm associated with their grief. I'm one with their grief. I suffer when they suffer. I'm like-minded to that other individual's pain. That means I'm not callous to that person's pain. I'm not insensitive to that person's faults or issues. Because it's easy to be a taker. And once you're in that mind frame of a taker, you don't care about how people feel. You don't care about other people suffering. All you care about is you. That's an easy mind frame to adopt. Read on.
God, verse 16. Be of the same mind one toward another. Mind not high things.
And that mind not high things is what? We're still talking about what? Pride. That principle of pride, bro. Pride makes you an offender.
Wow.
Keep yourself away from these things that make you an offender. Keep that low mind. Read on.
God, mind not high things, but condescend to men. But condescend to men of low estate. Be not wise in your own conceit.
Because you start being an oppressor the minute you start looking at everything you do is correct. The ways of man is clean in his own eyes. This is the origin of being an oppressor. This is the beginning of you being an enemy to the Most High. When you start thinking that the way you operate and the way you look at things is right. Read.
God, verse 17. Recompense to no man evil for evil.
And if you're in your pride, then you want what? Revenge.
Damn.
Then you want revenge. Now I got to get payback. Now I got to get even. Now you're going to treat me a certain way, I'm going to treat you a certain way. Now I'm in my pride. I'm not going to read it, but when you read about in the Apocrypha, when it was one of the enemies of the Most High, it might have been the Greek king Antiochus. How the Most High, when he said, "I'm finna go in Jerusalem with his pride, I'm gonna get vengeance on them," and the Most High made his bowels stink.
Yeah.
And he was so putrid that his own soldiers had to put him in the horse litter. You know what I'm saying? So, but that was all based on pride.
Right.
The Most High reversed everything he planned to do to where he died intolerable even to his own self. Most High flip it on you. Read on.
Verse 17. Recompense to no man evil for evil.
Go ahead.
Provide things honest in the sight of all men.
It says, provide things honest in the sight of all men, meaning I'm fair. I walk with my integrity. Read on.
Verse 18. If it be possible, as much as lieth in you, live peaceably with all men.
Make sure you're fair with everybody. Maintain your integrity. Be about what's right to the people around you, just not what's right to yourself. This is how you keep yourself in good standing with the Most High. This is how you keep yourself from being oppressive. This is how you keep yourself from being offensive to the people around you. This is how you protect yourself. You got to stay in this mentality. Is there any questions? I know that's a lot, but
Yeah, we haven't talked a lot about it, but within those things, there's a lot of stuff that goes on in my head. I may not say it, but a lot of stuff. And that's just as in violation as speaking to her.
well, it depends because get the definition of go back to Leviticus chapter 17 and 19 verse 17 real quick. Because there's something about what he's saying that you got to be careful with, and you just explained it right there about how we may hold things in, we may not say it, but it's going on in our mind.
Right.
Read that right there, Leviticus chapter 19, verse 17. Read that.
Leviticus chapter 19, verse 17. Thou shalt not hate thy brother in thine heart.
And so you may not say what your issues are, but you are doing what?
Hating your brother.
Where?
In your heart.
And your heart is your what?
Mind.
Is your mind. A lot of people have that same thing that you just explained. They're not saying what their issue is, what their problem is, but it exists. But it exists where? In the mind. So is it appropriate to have that evil going on in your mind? No. It's still hate. Whether you express it or whether you hold it in, it's still hate. Because there's something that comes from that. Read on.
Thou shalt in any wise rebuke thy neighbor.
That's why it's better. If you got something to say, it's better that you say it. If somebody offended you, say it. Let it be known. Like Christ said a minute ago, we just read, if he repent, forgive him. You have gained a brother. But don't just let it fester. Don't just meditate on the wickedness. It's not going to do any good. Read on.
And not suffer sin upon him.
Go ahead.
Thou shalt not avenge, nor bear any grudge.
Stop. It says, nor bear any what?
Grudge.
What's that definition of grudge? Get that definition of grudge.
Grudge in the 1828. To be discontented at another's enjoyments or advantages.
Yeah, because I don't like the fact that this person has it better than me. Or I don't like the fact that out of our exchange and our interaction, I felt like he got the best of me. Feel like he won and I lost.
Yeah.
There's some partiality going on. Read on.
Says to envy one the possession or happiness which we desire for ourselves.
Yeah. Read.
To give or take unwillingly.
Now give me the definition of malice, because I want to break this out, because there's another verse in the Apocrypha, Ecclesiastes chapter 27. Let me see. Let me get it real quick. Because this is where the evil will reside. Ecclesiastes 28 and verse 7. And then give me that definition.
Ecclesiastes 28:7.
Read that.
Remember the commandments
Go ahead. You got to remember the commandments. Go ahead.
and bear no malice.
And bear no what?
And bear no malice to thy neighbor.
So what is malice? To bear malice is the same thing as holding a grudge. It's one and the same. I'm holding on to malice. What is malice?
Malice, 1828 Webster's Dictionary. Extreme enmity of heart.
Extreme enmity of what?
Of heart.
I can't stand this individual. It's extreme. Now, a lesser extreme of malice is spite. Hold that where you at and get the definition of spite somebody else. One is a greater degree of the other. Malice is an extreme form of hate, while spite is still hate but not as extreme. And we'll explain both. But both of these is what people hold in their heart. These are two elements that people have within them, but they don't talk about. Right. Let's get the definition of malice, and then I want you to get spite. So read malice first.
Malice, extreme enmity of heart or malevolence, a disposition to injure others without cause.
So I got so much hate in me, I'm just going to lash out based on my hate that's in me. Somebody's going to catch a stray. Somebody's going to feel my wrath because I got so much hate in me. You may not even deserve the hate or the display of hate, but I'm going to give it to you anyway. Now, read spite.
Spite.
Or whoever got it.
To be angry at or vexed at.
So, spite is a lesser degree of malice, but you're still angry at somebody. You're still vexed with somebody. And these things you can still keep in your heart. Read on.
Number 2, to mischief, to vex, to treat maliciously, to thwart, to fill with spite or vexation.
Go ahead.
To offend, to vex.
To offend. I'm still offending people because I got this spite in my heart. I got this anger residing in my mind. Go ahead. I want it where it says something about they still want some revenge. Because a spiteful person still wants revenge too. If you don't got it, go back to malice until you find it. Yeah.
Okay, malice. Extreme enmity
It says
of heart.
it is accompanied with a desire for revenge.
Well, so
It, in effect, is extreme.
So spite is still accompanied with what? A desire for what?
For revenge.
So revenge.
Yeah.
But it's a lesser form of malice. Read malice.
Extreme enmity of heart.
But it's where? It's in the mind. It's not necessarily, I didn't necessarily tell people I got this feeling or I got this level of anger, but it exists within me. So to bear it means I'm still holding it in. I got a bunch of anger that's unresolved. And every once in a while, people that don't even deserve it get to feel it. And they get offended by it. They ain't even deserve it. Read on.
Or malevolence, a disposition to injure others without cause.
Go ahead.
From mere personal gratification.
Because they get a kick out of doing what? Offending. They get a joy out of it. Remember we talked about it earlier. They get a little bit of joy. That joy, that temporary joy you get for lying or for robbing, that little bitty feeling that you came up, you hating people without a cause, you get a little joy out of that, still vanity. It's still a worthless pursuit.
Yeah. Empty pleasure.
It's still an empty pleasure. But you gotta, because you feel a little tickle. It tickles you in the deepest part of your tummy to be evil to people and laugh about it. There's a little deviant nature in people that are quiet about their hate.
Yeah. Unsubstantial enjoyment.
Yeah.
Go to sleep better.
I sleep better. I feel better. I feel good. I feel like, I did my job today. I got under somebody's skin. Somebody pissed me off and I let them have it. I couldn't wait to just unleash on somebody. I was waiting for somebody to push my button.
Fruitless desire or endeavor.
But he said what? It's accompanied with what?
It says from mere personal gratification.
Some people hate because they get a kick out of it. And that's why they hate. There's no reason to it. Nobody deserved it. They just felt better. It made them feel better. That's he said wickedness come from the wicked.
Yeah.
Read? That's what David said. Go ahead.
or from a spirit of revenge.
Or it comes from a spirit of what?
Revenge.
I gotta get people back for what was done to me. So it could be that anger is held hostage either because of my joy and I can't wait to let it out, or because I can't wait to get revenge. Either way, it's in me.
I got even the score.
I gotta even the score. Right. Now finish what you got. My bad. What you got now yet?
I'm reading it. Said empty pleasure, vain pursuit.
It's still vanity. Right. So go back to Romans chapter 12, verse 19. I mean Ecclesiastes chapter 28, verse 7.
Ecclesiastes 28:7. Remember the commandments, and bear no malice to thy neighbor. Remember the covenant of the highest, and weak and ignorant.
And you're supposed to wink at what?
Ignorant.
You're supposed to let ignorance slide. You're supposed to let ignorance go. People's offenses, like David said, put it on mute. You don't have to speak on it. You don't have to defend yourself, avenge yourself, revenge yourself. You don't have to talk about it. You don't have to listen to it. You don't have to respond to it. That's the power you got. Read on.
Verse 8. Abstain from strife, and thou shalt diminish thy sin.
And your sins will go away when you learn how to not give in to offensive. How to be you learn how to not to be offensive. And you learn how to forgive people that are offensive. Then your sins get wiped away. All right.
This very much helps.
All right. No problem. All right. With that, we're gonna go and say shalom. Let's go and call it a day. It's already 10:30. If you can't, shalom everybody online. We'll be back in action on Friday. All right.
Shalom.
Shalom. See if you get the food ready.